In the wake of speculations that Governor Nyesom Wike made the camp to another party, Governor Samuel Ortom of Benue State asked the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Abubakar Atiku, to reach out to the Rivers State governor. Ortom, who expressed worry that Atiku denied Wike of the popular views of the PDP members, stated that he expected Atiku to have reached out to Wike on the grounds that he finished second in the PDP presidential primaries. In the same vein, former Ekiti State Governor and chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, Ayo Fayose, has said it was the turn of the South to produce the country's president in 2023, in a move many have interpreted as a support for Bola Tinubu, the APC presidential candidate. In his tweet, Fayose also affirmed that his party, the PDP, recognizes rotational presidency between the North and the South, adding that it is the Nigerian president from the South in 2023 or nothing. Well, joining me to discuss this tonight are Chris Itamanola. He is the former Commissioner for Information in Rivers State, and Dayo Kayode, who is a political technocrat. But we'll start with you. Good evening, Mr. Kayode, and thank you for joining us.
Yes, good evening, Mary Ann. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. This surfacing of the tweet of Ayo Fayose and, of course, the interview that was granted by the Benue State Governor, Samuel Ortom, seemed to have riled a lot of people and, of course, gotten a lot of reactions. But I'll start with what you have to say about the video or the interview that was granted by the Benue State Governor. Why do you think that he took that step to make those statements?
Yes, Governor Ortom of Benue State is somebody I've always had very, very lofty respect for. And for him to have uttered that out shows that he is a party man, a PDP to the core. Because definitely, when there is an election or nomination, everybody wants to occupy that particular position. But only one person can be chosen. There's no doubt about it that when one person is chosen, others might feel aggrieved. To that extent, there is need to reach out to whoever is aggrieved. And to that extent, for Governor Ortom to advise PDP to reach out to Governor Wike is a very, very good development. And I even think that before that is a statement, the PDP leadership had thought it that they are going to send a strong delegation to appeal to Governor Nyesom Wike, and which is, to me, is in a good direction. Because whether anybody likes it or not, to the extent that Governor Wike could control the number of delegates he was able to control at the National Convention, means that he is a strong PDP person to be reckoned with. And as a Nigerian, I will equally make my own appeal too to Governor Wike to stay online within the PDP fold.
You have already gone further to think that maybe there might be a move for Governor Wike, but he had made mention of the fact that he's a PDP man who's not going anywhere. He's going to stay within the party. But let me move to some of the statements credited to Governor Samuel Ortom. He said, and I quote, I'm waiting for him, that's Atiku, because there are more things he's expected to do. I expected him to reach out to Wike, who came second, and he denied him the popular view of PDP members. 14, he said, out of 17 members say that Wike should be the VP, but in his wisdom, he chose Governor Okowa. He said, Okowa is a nice man and he's my friend. I have no problem with him, but if we're in a democratic era, and 14 out of 17 say that it should be Wike, and Atiku in his wisdom gave it to Okowa, I expect more explanation. And so I ask, does the former vice president not have the right to choose who he feels would better work with him, as opposed to popular opinion, which Governor Samuel Ortom is making reference to? And if he does have a right to, why the row?
Are you still with me?
Yes. Did you hear my question?
Yes. Is it? Am I to also reply to that?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Now, you see, either we like it or not, the PDP had given Atiku Abubakar the flag of the party to represent them as the presidential candidate during the 2023 election. And to a very large extent, he has the right to choose the person that will be his running mate. But he has to consult the leaders of the party to be able to choose a running mate so that the party will be intact. But in a situation that PDP is now, whereby the statistics as regards who should be the running mate or who should be the running mate is a sort of causes of disaffection. It behoves on His Excellency Atiku Abubakar to hold that party together. And how do you hold the party together? By reaching out to others that are feeling decimated. You have to reach out to them and bring them back to the fold and give them the confidence that when eventually the party wins the presidency, everybody will be included in the formation of government. So, and even before Governor Uto proposed that, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar had said it, and even discussed with the National Working Committee that they should set up a strong delegation to go and meet Governor Nyesom Wike. That is that. Then on Governor Nyesom Wike is somebody that I have high regards for. You know why? Because whatever he says is going to do it. If Governor Wike should tell you that, good morning, you need not look at your wristwatch. He has said that he is the party person that is not going to leave PDP. So I strongly believe that he is not going to leave PDP. But then, party should reach out to him. The leadership of the party should reach out to him so that he will be able to perform effectively in the coming electioneering campaigns. But it's one thing for somebody to be in PDP, is another thing for him not to be effective. Look at what former governor of Ekiti State is doing, the PDP in Ekiti State. Even though he regards himself as a PDP man, but look at what he's doing between PDP and APC. So the PDP leadership should quickly reach out to Governor Wike so that his mind, his soul, and his body will work with PDP come 2023 general elections. Now
let's look at other issues. Governor Ortom went on to say that he was one of those people who, one of the 17, 14 out of the 17 who were rooting for the vice presidency of Governor Nyesom Wike. And he said, I'd like to quote him, that we needed Wike to be vice president so that he can bridge the gap. Now, I'm wondering, do you think that Governor Wike has the power, has what it takes, the strategies to be able to bridge the gap? Because it's not just the South that is concerned here. It's about winning votes across the country. Again, many pundits have said that he's more presidential than a vice president. And we know that vice presidents are supposed to be yes men, in quote. Do you think that he is most of a presidential personality than a vice president? And do you agree that he would have been the one, in the words of Governor Ortom, to bridge the gap between the North and the South?
Between you and me, Governor Nyesom Wike has all the qualities to be the running mate to Alhaji Atiku. He has what it takes to be the vice president of the country.
It's freezing.
But then, just as he has all it takes, some other people too are having the same qualities to be the running mates. As regards bridging the gap between the North and the South, there is none of the governors in South and Southeast now that cannot stand in that gap. But I think what really played out was as looking at the Southeast towards pacifying the Southeastern region. If you look at
I'm sorry, Mr. Kayode, and you think that Mr. Wike would not be able to bridge the gap between the Southeast and the South-South? Is that what you're saying, that Governor Okowa is most appealing? Are you insinuating that a Governor Okowa is most appealing to the Southeast as opposed to Nyesom Wike?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. They all can, they all can. All those people that are insinuating this and insinuating that, they are just there as political troublemakers. Do you understand? They are trying to denigrate. They are trying to denigrate the personality of Nyesom Wike so that he could be angry to leave PDP. We all know this. They are all political statements between you and me. If you look at his performances in his state during his first term and second term, you will give him a very, very high pass mark.
Okay. All right.
When you also look at his comportment at any point in time, the way he handled issues, you will give him very, very high pass mark.
Okay.
But the thing is, two people cannot occupy one particular position at the same time.
All right. I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Kayode. Just hold that thought. Just hold that thought. Mr. Kayode, just hold the thought. I have another guest. We're being joined by the former Information Commissioner for River State, Mr. Christy Taminola. Mr. Taminola, thank you so much for joining us.
Nice to meet you. Nice to be on air. I'm live on air.
Great. Now, you worked under Governor Nyesom Wike, and of course, you would understand where the governor of Benue State is coming from. Now, for some people, he made an assertion that party men should not necessarily make. Now, especially for the fact that the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar had said he was going to constitute a committee of sorts to appeal to the conscience of Governor Wike. But looking at what he said, and I'd like to quote Governor Ayo Fayese, who said that Wike never said he wanted to be VP, but when Atiku visited him, he was the one who said, I want you to be my VP. This is according to the former governor of Ekiti State, Ayo Fayese. He said that if that then changes, why has former Vice President Atiku Abubakar not been able to reach out to Governor Wike? Is it true that there's not been a conversation after everything that happened during and after the PDP convention?
Look, there could be no better way to debase a man other than the manner in which my governor had been treated. Let me state in very categorical terms, I work with him. I've worked with him for the past 7 years. And I know Governor Nyesom Wike. If a man who got 237 votes, where did they come from? They cut across the length and breadth of the nation called Nigeria. But for the stepping down of Tambuwal, the governor of Sokoto State, we all know what will have happened. Now, if a man could be that good and you now consider that he wasn't good enough to be able to be your vice. That's point one. The second point is, for example, I've taken time to listen to my colleague, my brother that is talking on the other side. I don't know him. But for you to say that the comments that are being made is by political jobbers, that means that I'm a political jobber. It's an unfortunate statement. I'd like to let you know, just like you stated, if you compose a committee, 17-man panel, to come up with a decision, and of course, as a member of the PDP, I'm aware that a presidential candidate cannot unilaterally take a decision. And that was why he proposed and submitted himself that choose me a vice presidential candidate. And if at the end of the day, 14 out of 17 deemed it fit to say that Wike should be, even if you purpose to take a contrary opinion, prior to that particular time, what should you have done? You should, just like the governor of Benue State had stated, at least held this man in high esteem. Single-handedly, Wike held this party from 2014. In terms of financial capacity, in terms of, look at what happened in the 2019 PDP convention. The current presidential candidate is just coming in from another party. Of course, we are not against that. But if you want to do something, let there be equity. So everybody who is saying that, and you know what makes this most embarrassing is when Atiku was going to make the public statement, I wish that he hadn't made that statement that he made, that he chose Okowa on the basis of the fact that he had looked and he has a future presidential capacity. Also, the other two candidates lack that ability. It's most unfortunate. It is so painful. And whatever decision my governor will take today, the rest assured, number one, we'll stand behind him, we'll stand by him, and it is definitely going to affect the fortunes of PDP, if not in the north, at least in the south. Those who are saying, does one man make a forest? You will see examples of that area. You could see that, of course, at the moment now there is already cross-carpeting and whatsoever. We do not need this type of atmosphere.
Mr. Taminola, are you insinuating that Governor Wike may leave the party? Because he succinctly said to us, and I remember that he was never going to leave the party. He would stand by his party. But this statement you just made has some patches on it that seems that like the governor is about to make a move of sorts. Do you have an information?
My dear lady, I am not Governor Wike, but one thing that is the constant in life is a change. Governor Wike could have made a statement to say he's not going to move. But of course, look at the extenuating circumstances. Listen to the comment of the former Niger State governor. I mean, you see, of course, no matter how much we try to build a house, if at a particular point in time you discover that you are not wanted in a particular place, you've got to weigh the options and whatever. I know that my governor is an astute thinker, and when he takes a decision, it's definitely going to be a right decision. So for now, he hasn't taken that decision. For now, he hasn't said anything. But when eventually he does, and in the event that he takes the decision to step out of the party, definitely you can be sure that as many of us that are with him will definitely still stand by him.
All right, let me ask you another question. And I want to go back to the former governor of Ekiti State, Ayefarashi, and what he said again. He said, and I quote, Wike cannot come out to say he's supporting Atiku. He said, I dare him to say so, because he knows that whatever he says...
I didn't get that. Say that again.
Well, he said, and I quote, Wike cannot come out to say that he supports Atiku. And then he went on to say that he dares Governor Wike to say so because he knows that whatever he says will haunt him forever. And he says if Wike supports Atiku, we will all abandon him. Does this mean that there is no pacifying whatsoever, that there might never be a handshake across the table to douse this tension that seems to be brewing? Is that the case right now?
Well, former governor of Ekiti State, Fayose, has spoken his own mind. But one thing I know is that the governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, is a man, an astute thinker, and if he has to, you see, I can assure you one thing. Wike does not have any challenge with the personality of Atiku, but he definitely has challenge with his policies. He definitely will have a challenge in terms of his methodology. And if and Wike is a person that also, in taking a decision, takes into consideration the feelings of others. So if he has a team, and Fayose is in that team, and some others are in that team, before he takes any decision, it's not going to be unilateral. But one thing is certain, when he eventually takes that decision, whether it's going to be within or outside, it will be in the best interest of he and his follower.
All right, quickly, let me toss back to Mr. Kayode. You heard the former Commissioner for Information in Rivers State and what he has to say. He has not necessarily minced words tonight. So I'd like to hear from you, Mr. Kayode. Do you see a disintegration of the PDP going forward if something is not done in the interim? And how will this affect the fortunes of the PDP, being that they are up against the opposition and, of course, the obedience?
Yeah, in the first instance, let me quickly correct the impression with my dear barrister that I have never said that he is a political jobber. And I'm not referring to him anyway. I'm referring to those that are bringing up statements that are highly sentimental, that are highly destructive within the polity, and not him. Having said that, you see, Governor Nyesom Wike is a political enigma within this country, either anybody likes it or not. He is somebody that has been very, very active and a lover of the people. All right, I've been following him since when he was sworn in as the governor for the first time. But then, looking at the situation between him and Atiku now, I will just want to tell Barrister, as one of his aides, one of the people that he believes in, to let him know there is no perfect human being. Thank God, no perfect human being. Thank God he said he has no problem with Atiku's personality, rather his type of politics. But then, the two of them can still come to a round table and have a hand of fellowship across the table. Because for me, I want a Nigeria that will settle down politically. Because we need to move forward. We need to push away those that are reneged on their promises. And a single tree can never make a forest. No matter how popular Atiku is, he cannot win election alone.
Okay.
No matter how strong a general is, he will never want to lose any of his lieutenants.
And lastly,
so I will still continue to say that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar should, as a matter of urgency, set up a high-power delegation to go and have a serious discussion with Nyesom Wike of Rivers State. And by that, he will be sure of garnering enough votes to take him to Asuro come 2023.
All right, our time is fast spent. I want to say thank you to the former Commissioner for Information, Rivers State, Chris Itamanola, and of course, Dayo Kayode, who is a political technocrat. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of the conversation.
It's a pleasure being here. Thank you very much.
All right.
I'm just to correct. Our special advisor, not commissioner.
Your special advisor. All right. Thank you very much for speaking with us. We appreciate it. All right. Let's move to the second segment. As we take this break, when we come back, we will be talking about what's also happening within the APC as the president has begged the senators not to break the party. We'll be right back.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on PlusTvAfrica as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
I am making a confirmation now to what the Edo State governor said. He said, do you notice that there's a new trend in the horizon now? That almost every household has somebody called the obedient. I didn't say it. That was coming from a PDP governor from the South. That's to tell you that we are reaching out to everywhere in this country. The other day, it was a Fulani girl telling her mother that her new name now is Obedient. This happened in Sokoto, in Gombe. Somebody just opened an office on behalf of the Labour Party and printed it by himself. In the North Central, a woman just opened an office by herself and printed the Labour Party. So you see, what we are having in our hands is a tsunami. So everybody who wants to win government should just come on board.
All the pointers, you're the second person who's talking about the same issue.
Naturally, you can talk like that. You're comfortable. You need to go to Ekiti.
What makes you think I'm comfortable?
You're looking beautiful like this. Go to Ekiti. There is hunger in the land. Even the farming, they can't even go to farm again. There is serious hunger in the land. Now, is it deliberate for the government to starve people and still want to induce them, buy them over with their commonwealth now? Is it deliberate? Okay, fine. Maybe before now, you can say people buy vote. They buy vote maybe a day before the election, and they see that during the course of the election, people can still go ahead and vote their own choices. But in this regard, they call it see and buy. Money was brought to election ground. And this is serious, it's a serious one. If this is not checked, then it's to say to the world that Nigeria is actually on sales.
The 2023 elections might be different slightly a bit from the elections we have been witnessing in the past. I quite agree with my brother here that some sentiments we see play out, like religious sentiment, sorry, the ethnic sentiment, and some other sentiments they must be accepted. But at the same time, Nigerians will now be asking themselves, how was my life, my living standard in 2015 when APC took over, in 1999 when PDP took over? To some extent, these issues are going to play a prominent role.
So these votes are probably going to be split among all the various contenders as it is now. So it simply means that they may not get a sole win to begin to say, yes, the merger, the fusion can actually give them the victory. This cannot happen. What it will probably look like at the end of the day, they will share the vital northern votes and probably some splitter of Igbo votes. Some people are even speculating that the Igbo has 9 million within the Northwest. We disputed some of these figures. If that is what they are saying, that all the Igbos are probably going to give Peter Obi their votes, that may not give him this election. So this is what we're looking at. So if for instance, before this primary stuff came up, they had decided to come together and they believe their ideologies are the same. As it is now, we don't even know whether they can flock together. Do they really have the same ideology? Why do they want the measure? What are they trying to achieve? What are the political values at various levels? What do they, all of this, what are they trying to tell Nigerians they are coming together? You see, these are some of the issues that need to be played out in the political domain before you begin to either act, begin to give them an edge in the kind of policy that we have in Nigeria today. So I don't see this measure coming up. Even when this measure do come up, I don't see them picking the victory. Rather, I see them as people are trying to spoil the shows for other bigger part that probably will won the election straight on.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. From the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and listen to the moment. There's another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
Welcome back. It's still Plus Politics now. Sequel to the recently concluded party primaries, President Muhammadu Buhari has urged aggrieved members of the ruling All Progressive Congress APC to remain committed to its ideals in order to sustain the party beyond its present circumstances. Now, the president said this in Abuja when he met some APC senators on the outcome of the party primaries and their implications, saying that the leadership of the party would sustain the healing process that it started to ensure fairness, justice and oneness ahead of the 2023 general elections. Well, joining us to discuss this are Kunle Lawal, he's Executive Director, Electoral College, Nigeria, and Adewale Ademola Justice, a political analyst. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Mr. Justice, can you hear me? Well, unfortunately, we can't hear him, but I'll start with you. Kunle, it seems like there's fire in the mountain everywhere, literally. We just had a conversation about what's happening in the PDP versus Wike versus, of course, Atiku. But now the president is speaking on the issue of 22 senators who planned to leave the party. 2 have already left. But the 20 who are still in the party, the president has met with them, asking that the ideals of the party be preserved. But we know what happens after every primaries. We see these cross-carpeting. Is this enough pacification for those who still are within the party?
I think what makes it most complex is the fact that this is a president who has served 2 terms. If you remember what happened during Obasanjo in 2007, you had the same kind of issues. Whenever a president has served 2 terms, it is clear that the circus of power is going to change. And this balances, of course, people will align, politicians align with interests. Let's be honest with how politicians see things. Politicians see separate mankind, of course, into 2 separate parts. One tools, the rest enemies. So, of course, we know that any movement from any party, be it PDP, NNPP, Labour Party, or APC right now, will be quite a serious issue. I think it's the onus is on the president, who's also serves as the leader of the party, to try and quell these situations, because the truth is, power for 2023 is very, very open. It's not a walk in the park for anyone, like we saw in 2007, where we knew that PDP was just going to walk into the party gates. This is a whole different ball game, and we're really looking to the events that would change it.
Is this another 2015 situation for all parties concerned, especially the APC, because we've also seen a new movement, out there in the horizon that seems to be shaking the tables for the All Progressive Congress. Many have said in the past that the party came together just to get power and had foreseen the future and what would happen. Could it be that in the past 7+ years, the APC has not learned or even strategized to see that this might have come to play one way or the other? You know that Nigeria, of course, we cannot ignore its size and its magnitude of the most populous black nation. So in making such decisions over 7 years, of course, the APC were new to power. And like you said, and I rightly agree, they were just a company or a conglomerate put together to take out the PDP in 2015. There was no plan generally after that. And now they have to try to create a survival technique to, of course, retain power in 2023. And this might align across certain interests, certain parameters. This is a whole new ball game, because what was constituted earlier had one target: remove good luck. Now you're trying to consolidate power, and you have so many vested interests, as you're seeing in the PDP, as you're seeing in the APC. These vested interests, of course, will not want anything to damn their own directions. And of course, they will take these parameters. It's a very interesting conversation, because Bola Ahmed Tinubu is from Lagos, of course. And then Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is from the north. As much as we want to blind ourselves, we know that they were going to play against nepotic lines. And we all know where the northern senators will go eventually, because the interests, of course, are guaranteed in that parameter, just like we can guarantee where the southwest senators and House of Rep will go. So it's a really dicey game. I look forward to a very nice game in 2023. Well, it's very interesting. I think we have Ademola Justice on the phone with us. Mr. Justice, can you hear me?
Hearing you quite well.
Perfect. Now, we're examining what's happening within the APC and what the president has said recently to members of the Senate who have been planning, as according to Fani Kayode, who posted about it. And he's asking that the ideals of the party be preserved, obviously trying to pacify them and saying they have to work together to win in 2023. But do you see these people staying, bearing in mind what's happening outside of the party, and that there have been movements within and outside the party? There are interests for every single person. Just as Kunle has said, many people might be voting across ethnic lines. Do you see the party disintegrating if something is not done other than the meeting that the president had with these senators?
Thank you very much. Going by what my friend and brother there, Mr. Kunilawala, said earlier, I wouldn't say what we are seeing or what we are getting from the senators or some of the politicians in the APC, what they are saying or what they are seem to intend to do may be any form of cause to disintegrate the party. Because right before the primary, the party almost lost it. Because for the party leader to be in contention for the presidential ticket, vis-a-vis some other members of the party, showed the world that there was a very serious crack in the party. And like you have just suggested, if something much more serious than what we are seeing is not done, the party may find it all off. And if I may call your attention to something, you see, some of the members that are threatening or were reported to be threatening, seeking to move, I don't see them as moving based on any act of sincerity. It's just a demonstration of their selfishness again. Because if they are not lucky at the primary, none of them will be muting to leave. So they are just showing us the true nature of the Nigerian politicians. They are not there for anybody's interest, in their interest. But at the same time, Nigerians have this opportunity again to watch deeper what really makes these guys called our political leaders. Thank you very much.
Kule, let me come back to you. Many have also criticized Mr. President as, before he even went into this meeting, many have said that he has seemed to be very aloof when it comes to party issues. He has stayed clear. And many have also, pundits have described the president's body language at the last, the party convention as one who was not necessarily in there for, whatever they were doing. He just appeared because he was the president and he belonged to that party. But do you agree that the president is aloof, even though he's on his way out?
Being honest, the president, the incumbent president of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, has never been a party man. He's always run based on ideology. He's not a party man. He doesn't build parties, or he has not been involved in building a party from scratch. Really? He has always had his number of voters, yes, but he's never influenced work within a party. He's not, how will you call, politically savvy. And he's had a laissez-faire attitude as regards the party, if you really look at it clearly. As regards the primaries, the convention, he just put his hands off and he's just watched. Yes, though this might seem a little bit more democratic if you look at it from another angle. He might not be directly doing that, but this has seemed more democratic than you would have seen, because we remember 2007, Olusegun Obasanjo was drumming everything and carrying an umbrella to everywhere you could ever check. And, he's kind of stayed and allowed the party internally perform its own, use its own mechanisms and then allow things happen. Now, as regards this interest, as much as these people lost, but they're politicians, and they have interests. If they lost their primaries in a party whose flag they've been holding, they would want to go somewhere while they're still sitting senators, where they'll be welcomed and promised something. It's normal law of things. It's not about selfish interest. It's still an intra-party game. And of course, everybody wants to be recognized. Who wouldn't want to be ambassador in the next dispensation? Why should you decide to be a lost candidate in a political party and go and sit down at home? I think that looks beautiful, and I'm sure it will look beautiful to everyone participating.
Mr. Justice, just as he said, the president, he thinks maybe democratic, to an extent for, handing off and allowing internal democracy. But we also remember the drama that happened just before the convention, where the party chairman said he was the Senate president that was the pick of Mr. President. Let's not also forget that many people were rumored to also have been the president's choice, the likes of the transportation minister and even the vice president. And there were mixed, speculations as to who the president will hold, who the president would actually pick as his preferred choice. But then we saw what happened. The governors had their say at the end of the day. But going forward now, because, in a few weeks, we'll start seeing campaign trains, rollouts in different parts of the country. Do we see a united APC going forward? And of course, there have also been rumors of, cross-carpeting from one party to another. The APC might be gaining some and losing some. But what do you see?
Thank Thank you very much. Like my colleague has rightly said there, whoever knows the political history and nature of the present president, you will know fully he's not a party man. You understand? The quest for a man with integrity brought him on board. Quite unlike what we have in the days of Olusegun Obasanjo, you would see whatever he wanted politically, you would see him out there with all strength and might. So you see, in the just concluded APC primary, you would hardly be able to pinpoint what the president would actually want. He left it a while for the party. He allowed internal democracy, and he made almost everyone know for sure that he wasn't in support of any particular candidate. Good as it is for a democracy, but at the same time, there stands to be that quest for anyone in the capacity of the president of a ruling party to have a firm ground, so that will lead so many other party men and supporters of the party as to what good decisions to make. That is by the side. Like we are saying, really, cross-carpeting is not strange. It is definite because, like I said earlier, having lost out in the primary, definitely politicians will seek greener pastures. They want to go to places or parties where they will be welcome. But like I said, if truly people are leaders who consider the interest of the electorate, it shouldn't be all this. Because like I have been asking, what value as a politician who has done as much as 10, 12, 14, 15, 20 years in a position still seeking to hurt that he has not added? Having been in the legislature for 4, 5, 6 terms, going back home shouldn't be a crime. If you have been eased out, you should, at the sake of political matter or leadership maturity, accept it and let someone else come in. So cross-carpeting at the instance of a lost primary is a show of political selfishness.
Okay.
Thank you.
Finally, Kune, the APC just resumed re-registration of young people. And many have hinted that maybe this might be because of the youth movement on social media and, of course, the amount of young people who have been registering to get their voters card. Is it not a tad bit late in the day to try to try to fish in, these youngsters? And is it just about the APC members, or are they trying to get new people within the fold? I
don't agree. If you look at Nigeria generally, this is the first time, based on the Electoral Act, we're having 8 months preceding an election. Yes. So the time is more massive. Before, we just had 3 months, 2 months. It was too short after a prime minister to start attempts this kind of scale. So I think the youth leader has made pushed forward a very intelligent initiative, trying to counter what he's seeing with the youth in the PDP and in the Labour Party, which he's beginning to find, and the NPP, which is finding the APC is deficient in. And I think this is one of the key. I would have loved to see more action from the woman leader, who, of course, is someone who we consider young. But, it's very disappointing to find out that the woman leader, no woman is carrying the APC candidate in Cross River State. So I'm very disappointed in the woman leader.
That's a conversation for another day. But I want to say thank you to all my guests. Kune Lawal is the Executive Director of the Electoral College in Nigeria. And, of course, Adewale Ademola Justice is a political analyst. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of the conversation. All right. Well, that's the show tonight. We'll be back tomorrow with Plus Politics. Of course, we will be bringing you also a weekend recap as we talk about the best in politics, talking for development. I am Mary Anna Cohn. See you tomorrow.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Good people, I greet you all. My name is Olusoji Alfred Onofokon, and here is my good old days story. I am a Lagosian from Ikorodu. Call me a grounded Lagos boy, and you won't be too far from the truth. Born in Island Maternity, grew up in about 4 areas in Lagos, namely Onyepan, Ebute Meta, Palm Grove, and then Bariga or Shomolu, and nurtured by a group of well-bred personalities who would never settle for less in morals and conducts. Growing up in Ebute Meta, where I had my primary education, we were made to attend a vocational training center besides our normal primary school routine, where we learned woodwork, metal work, and other related vocation aimed at equipping us for the needed skills for the future. Even in our learning environment, we still find room for recreational activities and fun. I remember the food vendor at the vocational center. So delicious was our food that you are tempted to go and buy more, even if it meant stealing your parents' money to do so. We would always sing, Momo Iya Center, Unko Molole, meaning Iya Center's cow skin delicacy is so sweet that you are tempted to go and steal. I remember with nostalgia joining the choir at the tender age and the passion I attached to attending choir practice every Tuesday and Saturday. The choir, early in life, taught and trained me to be disciplined, steadfast, and be focused. In those growing years, your choir master was like a teen god whose words were orders and commands were laws. In all, my passion for choral music and hymnals grew from that childhood experience. My reminiscences are not limited to schooling and church activities. A growing child will always be a growing child. I had my fair share of adventures and childhood pranks. I remember during Easter holidays when Rabiatu Onigba will be going around the street and we would always follow to catch the fun. Playing football at Evans Square was fun. I did not only witness several masquerades, I also remember the Eyo entourage. They will always come back from Island to Awoyokun Street, from the festival in Onekwan to become terrors to females. Hotel Bobby, beautiful architectural piece around Onekwan in those days. It is so sad that such legacy and that part of our history on the evolution of modern Nigerian music did not stand the test of time. We would always be there to enjoy music and watch great music stars from all over Africa perform in those days. If you have not been to Hotel Bobby, then you have not arrived to Lagos. Those were the days when it was safe to drive around Lagos all through the night without fear of robbery or attack in any form. The days of Bole Kaja, the yellow buses, Metro Cinema, Casino Cinema, Apapa Amusement Park, Bread Oni Beji, Ewa Agonye, Bongo Tea, Shopper Rides, and a whole lot of incidences that trigger nostalgic feelings readily come to mind now. But time will not permit me to share some of those experiences with you now. Those were the good old days. Now my worry, will our children believe us when we tell them we had so much fun at little or no cost then? Will they believe us when we say the environment was relatively safe to move about in those days? Will they buy our story when we tell them we once cherished our unity and guarded it jealously. How much of those years are retained today? What can we do to reverse the trend? Is it possible we change the narrative? With conscious efforts from our leaders to make the difference? Yes, we can. Our children deserve a better tomorrow, not reminiscences of the good old days. In this regard, I join Sir Shemo Rebadejo in this drive to have a better tomorrow for ourselves, our children, and for future generations. Thank you.
In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God. The internet is actually using the people.
But when you are looking for money to help other people, then it becomes easy.
Don't rush into marriage. I always say this. You rush in, you rush out.
Family is the bedrock of every society and the essence of life.
On Today with John and Helen, we dig deep into family values in every sense of the word.
Join us every Saturday at 9:15 a.m. on PlusTvAfrica, DSTV channel 408.
With you, we play a part in strengthening the values passed from generation to generation.
For me, I wanted to change that culture. I didn't believe that until you see a white man or you see a foreigner in the kitchen before you can believe that, good food is going to come out of that kitchen.
You can leverage on each other's spaces and, sell. We believe in Nigeria, right? We believe that Nigeria can get better. We, the youth, are the ones that can make it better.
And my products are proudly made in Nigeria.
Made in Nigeria, showing every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. and repeats on Saturday at 8:30 a.m.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on PlusTvAfrica.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayuwa Mesale, and I have with me Nama Fanga, live in studio. Hello, Nama.
Hello, Uwa.
We're expecting 2 more people, one via Zoom, one via physical.
You know, oh my goodness.
I don't know why I'm excited, but Nama, I have to find joy. Did you see the traffic today?
Oh yeah, as in you just have to.
I went late for all my meetings today.
Well, definitely from morning when I saw that the rains, the clouds, if everywhere was dark, I knew it was going to rain all day, and I knew it was going to be one of those days. So I braced up for it, you know, handled I got wet under the rain. In spite of it all, we just decided from early in the morning that we were going to have a good day in spite of.
Yeah, we don't have a choice. We have to have a good day. It's not so we can't keep making excuses. Okay, so I was talking with Tewa earlier today.
Yes.
I was talking with her earlier today. You know, she's in Abuja for the Abuja version of the clinic, the business clinic.
Yes.
She said, the traffic in Abuja that she did not expect. I said, and this is the Abuja people have been toasting me who are relocate.
No,
Lagos is too stressful. Come to Abuja. I say,
Abuja is more structured. You have to give it to Abuja. It's more structured, whether we like it or not.
She experienced the same thing in Port Harcourt. She experienced the same thing in Abuja. So
but there are days like that.
In Nigeria.
No, there are days like
Nigeria.
that, actually.
It's not really unique to Lagos. But you see, the bad thing about Lagos State, and this is what I keep saying to the government. First of all, on Lekki-Ekpe Expressway, we only have one in road, one out road. There's no, like you can't have other branches of the road, whatever, right? It is one major road. And again, go and check all these real estate developers. Like I can say 80% of them, or 80% is even too small. 95% of real estate developers currently, most of their development is happening on this side of town, on the Ekpe side, you understand? So it is only natural as a government to say, okay, you know what? Because right now that road is not properly built because they don't have proper drainages, right? So why can't you say, okay, while we're fixing the roads, or because they are doing major work around VGC, they've done one at Abramadesoya, they did at Aja at some point, you know, major work is going at the Ekpe axis, right? Why can't we just patch up? Because most of the traffic is caused by, gridlock. So why can't we just at least have immediate fixes for all those? I've seen videos of, modern technology that they use abroad to fill up potholes. Let's start to have such, palliatives pending when a proper drainage, because until we build a drainage, no matter how much you patch, you'll keep having those craters on the road.
Unfortunately, Nigeria, we have become accustomed to a lot of fire brigade approach with what we do, but we don't think about the repercussions, right? And we don't really think through situations. We just, this is a problem, let's solve it, let's do this. And we don't even look at, okay, how is this going to impact? What are the ways we're going to employ different techniques that will help us to alleviate the stress on the people? So I don't know. It's something that we are yet to have skills in.
Absolutely.
And hopefully sooner than later, something will happen.
All right, so today we want to discuss this subject of separation in marriage, right? It so happened that, what's her name? Of course, there were speculations. It was all here and there, but we don't really want to focus on them. But since they are the people at the front burner now, but we want to ask, is it possible for us to begin to normalize separation in this country? Because, that's what we're talking about today. And here's what we found as today's quote, right? You can never know if you've been truly in love until you get separated from your partner at least once. Now, rapper Abdulrasheed Bello, popularly known as JJ Skills, has announced his separation from his wife, actress Funke Akindele. JJC announced via his official Instagram handle this morning, stating that his marriage with Funke has had issues for the last 2 years. He stated that he had to move out of their home 3 months ago, after Akindele insisted he did and had not been able to have a sit down with her since since the African Magic Viewers' Choice Award that happened on May 14th, right? So this announcement has sparked a lot of conversations and speculations, mostly centered around, shame. So it's our ladies' night out, and Uti, Norma, Isi, and I will be discussing normalizing separation in this country, especially in Nigeria. Normalizing separation in marriage, right? Can we just start to normalize certain things? And when we open our phone lines, we'd love to hear your thoughts on separation, what you think about separation. But we'll do all of that first. Let's take a break to see what we found in the news.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, they go beat you. Now 2,500 and they pay.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the Babin, I pay my rent. From the Babin, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, first, there was the telephone, then the fax machine, and then social media. A revolutionary way of communicating. Since its creation, people have been able to connect with each other like never before. Friends and family can connect at any moment, and marketers have been able to reach consumers in an entirely new fashion. In fact, people use social media for an average of 144 minutes every single day. Because of its impact on society over the years, Social Media Day was born on June 30th, and it has continued to grow in popularity ever since. So, happy Social Media Day, people. Without social media, we will not be knowing what is happening in people's bedrooms now, because now any little thing that happens before the person downstairs in your house, inside your living room, before the other person will find out what happened in your bedroom, the whole world has found out what happens in your bedroom. Social media, I don't understand. Like, can we just leave? Actually
it's
today.
It's not the same anymore.
Can we just what?
My sister said that you that were bugaing on social media. See, but you see, I've limited my social media.
Really?
Yes.
I'm not aware.
I'm
not aware. I'm not.
So when
I have limited social media. I don't know about you.
When she said that people in their bedrooms on social media, if a fly flies past,
she has talked about
it's going to be on social media. If really, it was made.
So you know why I do that? I want to keep the monitoring spirit monitoring.
Really?
Because you know that so especially people don't even know half.
Nonetheless.
On my WhatsApp status is when I'm the social media. That's my social media. You know. But you see, you say you want to make me your case study. No problem. I'll give you what to be praying about. Your artists have become your prayer point. I keep people busy. I keep you on the edge. You know. I keep it flavored.
Really?
Yes.
Flavored. What flavor is that?
It's a plethora. It's a potpourri of flavors.
Plus you, plus your monetary spirit, all of you will be. All right. Yeah.
Oh my God. All right. So Isi is back with us. Uti is back with us. Hello, ladies. How are you? In quick second, because we've run out of time. There's no time for what's in the news, right? Isi, how are you? Oh, did we lose her again?
Ladies, you all look fly and nice.
Thank you. So, Isi, quickly, let's start with you. How was your day? And thank you for not showing up because of the traffic. Thanks to Baba Jide Sanwo-Olu and the local government chairman.
Oh gosh, the traffic was crazy. I can't emphasize on how bad it was. I was stuck in traffic for over 2 hours in one particular area without even going further down the road. So yes, and this is due to bad road that we have in Lagos. A lot of potholes everywhere, basically. Yes, so I would say it was a hectic one for me this morning or this afternoon.
Let's quickly run through what we found in the news, because we have a lot of gist today. Oh yeah, quick. Isi, what did you find for us?
Okay, our story is still bordered on separation, and while the story of separation is out there, she is also trying to, climb the ladder politically. So it says, amidst the marriage brouhaha, Funke Akindele gets PDP deputy governor nomination, and this is by the PDP. So in this context, the PDP unveiled the list of deputy governors, and her name actually came up as one of the candidate nominees, which will be included in the PDP gubernatorial election as a deputy nominee. So she's a running mate for Dr. Olajide Adeniro, popularly known as Jandor, and like I said, when one door opens, or one door closes, another door opens. So while she's going through personal challenges in her marriage, she is flying politically and career-wise.
I'm liking this because first it was Tonto DK as deputy governor candidate.
Absolutely.
It's the season. See, I don't have a problem. Let them just come out. Funke Akindele has about maybe 15, let me check now, how many million followers on Instagram. So if they can translate that into votes. I know that I've not said it is. I'm saying that they have some level of clout. It just gives that political consciousness. So I'm not about whether them winning. I'm saying that I like the idea that popular celebrities are coming out for elective, yes, because why? It keeps election top of mind for their followers and a lot of people. So I like the idea.
If that can be translated, right?
Into votes, but we don't have time, Uti.
Keeps it top of mind, or it makes it a joke?
It doesn't make it a joke. It doesn't.
Really?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I don't believe it does. But maybe we can bring that topic another day. Yeah. Nobody knows us. If I go say I want to become them, it will not make news. But you see, it keeps top of mind. It means that politics, people start to say, okay, I can pay attention to politics. That's what I feel, though. Norma, you're what's in the news? Uti, don't look at me with side eye.
No, I'm looking at you with both eyes full on face forwards. But all right.
My story is actually our conversation for today.
Also, do we just, yeah?
Yeah, I wanted to draw attention to the fact that JJC actually wrote, sent out the message, and he said something that he had tried several times to have a conversation with Funke. However, she has not responded. So, well, by the time we get into the conversation.
Okay, Uti, your story quickly.
Well, maybe I come back to PDP with Issy. So my headline says, former Ekiti Governor Fayose dumps his party's candidate Atiku, backs Southern presidency. So a series of tweets. The former governor put out a series of tweets to say that the current president of Nigeria is a two-term northern president, thus implying that it must be a southern presidency in 2023. Nigerians should await details soon. Now, I was a bit confused by the series of tweets that he put out because it was a bit confusing for me. Okay, the tweets went out today, but the story I saw was from today. But the fact is, he's then telling Nigerians to watch this space. I believe that the primary is over. Atiku is their candidate. So I'm not clear on what Nigeria should await details or what we are watching for. Is he implying that the candidate right now is a placeholder? Or I was confused by it because...
Well, everybody knows Fayose. Anybody that knows Fayose knows that he has a very soft spot for the APC presidential candidate. That's Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Ahmed, right? So if he's saying watch this space, maybe there are some things, there are some decisions that he would eventually make that, you know, it will be full-blown support for the APC while he's in PDP.
But so, again, we are celebrating Social Media Day today. You know, the things you do, they remain to haunt you. 31st of May, to this end, I congratulate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, our flag bearer, and wish him and our party success in the general election. This was the same person, tweet on the same Twitter handle, on the 31st of May. So, like I said, I read the story and I was confused. That's why I'm talking about it. Perhaps some of our viewers have an answer for me. But
well, they will find one for you. So mine is just to point out on this, while we're on this subject of separation, Jaruma, this aphrodisiac seller, she offers her home to actress Chacha because that one too had some issues about, you know, separation and all of that. She has offered her home after she announced the end of her own marriage. She says, for the second time in 2 years, I am here again on social media, boldly declaring that I am done with my marriage. That is what the AKA Fanny said. So in a reaction, Jaruma now puts and says, you know, when we leave our men, we normally don't have a place to stay. So Chacha, you can stay in one of my houses with your kids before I get a buyer, sending you love and support. This really came close to home for me because a lot of times when women stay in toxic relationships is because they do not seem to feel like, okay, there are options where safe homes where they can stay, you know, and all of that till they get their feedback. But I mean, I just thought to mention it because we're going to talk more about that when we come back from the break as we discuss what's it called, normalizing separation in marriage. Stay with us. All right, so thanks for staying with us. Now, divorce is still one of the most controversial topics discussions in Nigerian society. The existing stigma makes it more complicated. Marriage don't have to makes it more complicated. Marriages don't have to mean staying together till you are dead. Putting an end to a troublesome relationship is always a better option. Let us normalize divorce and stop blaming women for it every time it happens. Now, divorce can completely change your life. The friends that you thought you had might suddenly be ignoring you. Even your co-workers may shun you. It's not common for divorcees to feel lost or unsure of their place in the world after their divorce or separation. And especially if the divorce has been finalized. So how can we begin to normalize separation in marriage? Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at WaysShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WaysShow. All right, so this conversation is quite here and there. You know, on one hand, everybody sets out into marriage believing that I can live, you know, we spend the rest of our lives together. We be all this chummy and, you know, live happily ever after, like the Cinderellas have told us in, in their cartoons. But I was listening in on an audio today, and I think there's a huge misconception around that subject of divorce or separation, right? And before you get to full-blown divorce, there has to be like a 2-year period where you then wait, especially in Nigeria. You must be separated for at least 2 years, where they now find out, okay, you are not doing again, or you're not doing again. Then okay, go ahead to start the divorce proceedings. But in that period of that separation, I think is the best thing that can ever happen to any marriage, because oftentimes, when I see you from afar, there's this, or I'm in awe of you, I'm this, I'm that. But when that proximity is there, I'm in your face every day, I'm with you morning, afternoon, night, all of those kinds of things, there's some level of, see finish that enters that marriage, right? So sometimes I feel like separations help, to reposition, right, the mind, and reposition the people, the parties, to see, okay, maybe they begin to see what, and start to probably attach the value maybe they had stopped seeing in their spouses. But that's my thoughts. So I think separation is a good thing. But let me hear your thoughts, ladies. And it's not all separation that leads to divorce. Uti, why are you looking at Noma? It's you I'm asking you. What's your thoughts?
No, well, hey, why is that? Okay, well, I'm here and there about the situation. I don't believe that every, well, it can be normalized, but it's a decision that the people involved are going to have to take. It is something that can be very helpful in a relationship, and it is also something that can completely destroy a relationship. So it depends on the people that are involved. I don't believe that in marriage, okay, because yes, see finish may come into the picture, but I believe that when two people respect themselves in a marriage, take time to understand themselves in a marriage, even if after several years of being together, you can still have that successful relationship union. Where separation can come in and be useful is where somewhere along the line that respect is gone, that understanding is gone, and that friendship relationship is also no longer there. So sometimes some people need to take time to reassess the relationship. Is there a possibility of friendship coming back? Is there a possibility of relationship coming back? Is there a possibility of understanding and mutual respect coming back? And where it is not working, then the two people can decide in agreement with one another that this is no longer viable and move on with their lives. Where they have assessed and found out that, okay, I still have feelings for this person. We still can work out a relationship. We still can be friends. If we add on, or we go back to the things that made it what it used to, the see finish thing that you mentioned, maybe we took ourselves for granted and we have learnt our lessons, we can come back together. So for me, it's about the two people involved. And if the two people that are involved are not mature about the conversation, then it can get very ugly. So normalizing it would be for people who have decided that in the near future, should there be a situation like this, we have that option
it is okay.
of being able to move on or separate or whatever names that you want to give it. But for me, it's the two people involved that will have to make that decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Issy.
So,
you're ready to talk now.
No, if Issy wants to speak,
go ahead.
Okay. So I
Issy, go ahead.
Okay, so I think that Noma has given a the synopsis of giving us an overview of what it's all about, basically. It's about both parties, two people involved. And I always come back to this. What is the root cause? What's the root cause? Why? What's the foundation? Why did you get married in the first place? And these questions still comes back to were they matured enough to understand what they were getting into? And some people come back to the context that, oh, just in case this happens, we can always go our separate ways. So they have that foundation, basically, that this is not going to last forever, basically. So the foundation is crucial. Why are you getting married in the first place? And in the course of you getting married, I don't think that see-finish actually comes into play. Why would I say that? You live with your family. If you live with your family, you get along with your family, you get to quarrel with your family, you get to feel some certain type of way with your family. If that love is actually there, yes, you would have your misunderstanding, but at the same time, you come back together and what? You live together. But in the case of where it is extreme battery or is extreme disrespect, where there is some sort of emotional abuse or there is some sort of disregard for each other's feelings and they're not matured enough to sit down and talk about it, that is where there is a problem. And there I would say, bail for your life and don't stay back. So yes, it's not a one-size-fits-all for everything, basically, but it is crucial that, we understand that the red flags will come up, but do they have the maturity to handle it? That is crucial for me.
Thank you.
So separation can be this way or can be that way.
So whenever this subject comes up, everybody always say, oh, what was the foundation? What was this? What was that? Can we just agree that the foundation, because, we do crazy things in the name of love, right? We have already entered it, and we know that we have entered one chance. Where I have a problem is when we begin to now try to justify every reason why you stay in that relationship.
No.
But let me hear your thoughts.
So I like what Issy said, and I agree with part of what Norma said. Let's first of all agree that we have trivialized the institution of marriage. First of all, marriage is a decision you do not take lightly. Marriage is not the wedding day. It is not the dress. It is not the pictures for social media. So let us first agree that we have normalized the trivialization of the institution of marriage. When we start from that, then we can now begin to talk about the big word of separation. People do not, in my opinion, do not go into marriage today with the mindset that I am here for life. We go in the marriage today with the mindset that it is not do or die. And let me tell you, when you go into it with that mindset, it is doomed from the start. You see people today that on the day of the wedding, you people are on the table eating jollof rice and you can't figure out why they got no business being together, but they get married. So the fact for me, where I saw the shift start to change, so culturally, the cultures, and even in Nigeria we had it at some points, the cultures where we used to have match-made, people that were match-made, you felt you didn't have a choice then. It was like prison. You were forced to stay together. For a lot of people, it was, we're in the same house. We eventually sort of, okay, he's not so bad, she's not so bad. We become friends. Eventually, we fall in love, blah, blah, blah. It was a thing. People stayed together for years. You find some of our parents were together. Even in their old age, they still enjoy gisting with each other. They still enjoy their company. It is, first of all, in understanding that you yourself, as a human being, you want Uwa. In the how many years you have spent on earth, if you divide your life, it is in seasons. There are happy times, there are bad times, there are times when if somebody gave you a bridge to jump off, you probably would have. And it all makes you who you are. The problem that we have, first of all, is that you all were reading Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty and all that nonsense when you were kids. And then when you grew up a bit older, you now compounded the problem by reading Nose and Bones and all that nonsense. So in your head, you thought you were going to find somebody who was going to complete you, and every day the mice were going to be singing at your windows and the birds were going to be sewing your clothes. Let's first of all be clear. There's nothing different about marriage than your life. The difference is the decision. Do you wake up every day and decide that today I choose you? Now, let me tell you, for me, I'm not saying that there's no basis for separation. There absolutely is, right? But the place where I have the problem is the fact that we have now trivialized it as such, to which we can have a topic like which we are having today, which is normalizing separation. Now, you can be married, because this is the version of separation that I subscribe to. Be married and have a life. You see some women get married and all their friends. So tomorrow when there's drama, they have nowhere to turn. So
you make the man the center of your life.
You're married doesn't mean you don't have an identity. You're married doesn't mean every outing, go on holiday by yourself, have a girl's trip, give yourself some time to race each other. It's very easy to take people for granted when you're around each other at the same time. But it is not, the phrase separation is a very serious term. It is on the way out. How many, I don't have the statistics, but how many separations actually come back? So the fact is, people need to realize that when I go into marriage, it is an active decision. It is not one to be taken lightly for the sake of pictures and social media and a wedding reception. It is not about the dress. You first of all decide to know that, man, this is work. Some days I'm not going to like you. Some days I'm going to want to poison you, in fact. But I'm going to wake up the next day and I'm going to be like, I'm still Mrs. You. So let's be clear. That what is the basis for getting married? It is not because, I remember when I turned 30, that's when I knew that our programming was strong. Because I turned 30 and I literally felt like I fell off a cliff. Like my life was over, I was not married. Hey, God, what is me? Wow. And then one day I just asked myself, Auntie, why is this thing so important to you? Is it for you or is it what you've been... And I realized that the programming, forget, it's not just Africans, it's not some Nigerians. It's Nigerians, it's Africans, it's black women everywhere. This marriage thing, we hold us strong. That no matter how, I love how what's her name called it. Tina Turner's daughter. I forget her first name. Tracy. Yeah. Tracy says it's the curse of marriage. The curse of marriage and carriage. So no matter how successful you are in your life as a black woman, if you have not gotten married and had kids, you have not made it in life. So that's the problem. So because we have this idea that the day I get married, everything in my life will be fine. I remember a friend of mine getting married, and on her the day of her bridal shower, there's this Yoruba song. I'm trying to remember it in my head now, where the translation of the song is like, before this, I didn't think I could do anything good, and this is now I've arrived. And I'm like, come on. Okay. So separate is not normal. It cannot be normal. Can we normalize going into marriage for the right reasons first?
No.
All right.
Let us take a break. I will answer that question when we come back. Stay with us. All right, so if you just tuned in, it's our Ladies' Night Out, and we are discussing normalizing separation in marriage. Even though Uti does not agree. Please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-8663. You can also tweet at us at WaveShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WaveShow. Now, our phone line is now open. The number to call is 07025007749. The number to call is 07025007749. Please, when you're calling, turn off the volume of your television set so we can hear ourselves. So I hear you, Uti, and I 100% agree with you. Now, I had this question that I asked somebody. When you had the idea that you wanted to be married, right, what is your ideology about who a wife should be to you, and vice versa, right? Who is a husband? You know, I said that it is impossible for us to bring that subject of normalizing marriages, right? I mean, going back to what a marriage is supposed to be. If I asked 10 people in a room, why do you want to get married? The reason, right, that people get married already is a big problem. A man is hungry, he needs somebody that will be cooking for him, somebody that will be cleaning for him, somebody that will be doing this for him, you know. So we already have been programmed so badly, you understand, that we don't even understand why we should be called somebody else's husband or somebody else's wife, right? So if already that programming is bad, I think the best way to start to solve the problem is, first of all, normalizing that if you have entered it and you then realize that this relationship, I don't think it is how I envisage. I'm not saying this your not a do or die mindset. No, you entered that I will live and die with you. But you are there and you're seeing certain kinds of things that are not, you know, working well. Take a step back. Reassess. I like what you said about reassessing, because that is what a separation is supposed to be. You understand? You're supposed to reassess that. Do I really want to be? Then you now come back and do vow renewal. But let me take youngest old man. You are live.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
For a second, I will lost. I'm busy listening to you, Daddy. Then you go good for pulpit too. When you throw the word, deep words.
Yeah, go ahead.
You see, for my own, I am that kind of person that listens from all sides of the contribution, and I try to pick one thing. On the other side, I will contribute. Picking one thing means I've learned one thing, and that side, I'll contribute. So far, so good. I've been married for 17 years. I married very early. I think I married at 23. And when almost everybody that saw us going into that business, me and my wife, I'm just 1 year older than her, they saw us as just 2 years target. We are failing. It's a failure because all of a sudden I was like the underdog there. I was not too financially buoyant. She's the daughter of a big man, and I'm still trying to catch my leg. You know, and I've seen maybe this guy's going in for the father's money. And blah, 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 blah. So people were just kind of, and she too, she's a girl that is from a rich home. So in the next 2 years, she's going to tell me to wash her undies, and I will not really want to do that because anybody that knows me knows I'm somebody that stands for what I believe in. So everybody just throws it on. Somebody told me, Frank, that please, anytime you want to take, when you're out of this one, you want to do another one, let me show you where you take from. It's going to be easier. And I said, okay, fine. When I called my wife, I told her, look, we are not perfect, okay? If we can allow ourselves to learn each other. Because we only dated for, I think, less than a year. And we believe that we need to take it to the next step. And we had a lot of challenges. Let me tell you one thing, I'm not trying to boast. When we had that discussion with my wife, we said, let's practice this thing like business. Every business improves. Let's improve ourselves on a daily basis. Let's not have expectations, but let's have contributions. You don't expect me to be like the other man. I don't expect you to be like the other woman. If the other woman not doing well, tell me why I'm not doing well. If you're not getting it right, I'll check. Then we started understanding this, and I cannot remember that the only time we fought and had words that were not too good was when we had our first son. And you know, we are still learning each other, and some things came. She was having this, what do you call it, PTSD or whatever.
Yeah.
Post-trauma something. I didn't know about it. So I was so angry with some attitude she was putting on, and it bled off. But later on, I understood, and we came back. We all cried together that night to correct ourselves that this was not supposed to be a problem. And today, as I'm telling you now, we cancelled almost more than every month. We cancel at least 2 couples because of the kind of progress that we present.
Awesome,
and
thank you.
Currently, we have 5 kids. We are off that hook of bringing in kids, but we learn every day. Even at our age in marriage, we are older than many marriages, but we are still learning. So what people need to understand in marriage is that don't go into marriage with too much expectation. Be open to learn. On this, in fact, let me tell you, you can even learn to the extent of how to brush. You know, for instance, she taught me how to brush. That the bristle of the brush, you have to turn it to the other side to wash your tongue.
Oh.
And you don't get all that brushes in the supermarket. It's different type. You have to get the one that has rough back.
Thank you.
Learn every day and don't play perfect.
Thank you,
so
thank you.
What they do on daily basis is that
Absolutely.
a perfect person.
So I like the conversations around what the motive of the marriage is, right? I mean, again, a lot of times people come into marriage with ulterior motives. They have their expectations. They have all of those things. So I'm saying that, again, you've already entered the relationship, right? Because people are castigating and calling all sorts of, whoa, it's because she's this, because she's that. You do not expect that. Marriage is, first of all, two imperfect people, right? You are not perfect. No human being is perfect coming together. So you would expect and give room for some of these excesses of the other spouse. You know, but when it now becomes too, like, in your face and it is extended, you know, at some point, everybody will be tired, right? It's mutual respect. You should be able to respect the other person enough to be able to at least curb some of these excesses that you have. So if you are seeing that those things are not happening, you know, let us then take a step back. So what I was even saying, Uti, the reason we can't not talk about normalizing separation right now is because over the years, like you rightly said, it's a programming that's happened for decades, right? So how do you expect it to? So we need to get to that point where we now start to look back and say, okay, where did we get? So that when we are entering into this marriage, we are entering with clarity as to these are the things might be going wrong.
So I hear you, but you see, I'm concerned about using the word normalizing and separation in the same statement, because you already see the mindset of people today. We are in a mindset of, it's not do or die. I beg, if I'm tired, I can walk out in 6 months. In fact, I can walk out the week after the wedding. So my point is, how about we normalize proper relationships prior to marriage? How about we normalize not going and doing the completely ineffective pre-marriage counseling that our religions, let me not even go there. But let's actually talk about you being and getting into marriage with the right mindset.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. You said we should normalize, right, a proper relationship before marriage.
No, if you want to normalize any separation, normalize walking out of those ones.
Normalize walking out of the relationship, not okay.
No, so it's both things. That's what I'm saying.
Because now I want to ask you to define what a proper relationship will look like. But let me take Loma. Sorry, he's been holding. You're live.
Okay. Good evening.
Hi.
Good evening, my dear sister.
Thank you for calling. Go ahead, please.
Listening to you people have a very big phone. I'm so much happy. But let me just tell us, normalizing separation in marriage, it's nothing like that. Separation is separation. Normalize your marriage. Than normalizing the separation. See, a broken relationship is better than a marriage. So I want to let us know, if you want to go into marriage, first and foremost, know that we are two imperfect entities coming together. And know that I am not worthy. The other person is not worthy. And we are trying to get to perfection. Before you know it, you tolerate each other. But when you tell me, once you are separated, you start what happened, you are separated. Unless there is divine intervention. If there is no divine intervention, you cannot, even if you say, let us harmonize things, separation is there. And if you have given birth to children, the stigma will remain there forever and ever. So I urge each and everyone that want to go out of marriage, let's ask yourself, will I be able to endure this thing at the end of the day? When the answer is no, go back and
break off the relationship. Thank you. Thank you so much, Loma. And that was what you were saying. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just for me is, let's not normalize the problem. Because what it means is that, and that's where I, maybe why this topic upsets me so much, is because I see so many people today not wanting to work at their marriage. And I like the part in the story that you picked out. I don't know whether he's spinning a tale or maybe she's tried her own in the end. You know, everybody tells their own part of the story, but I've been trying to talk to her and I'm not able to talk to her. The truth is, let's actually normalize working at relationships. In the absence of violence, abuse, cheating, all the plethora of things that you could name, that you can say, okay, this is my hard no, I can't come back from this. Because even some marriages, a lot of marriages come back from cheating, come back from all of these things. So it's not even impossible. But let's normalize working on healthy relationships. Let's not normalize separation. Let's not normalize I'm getting married for the wrong reasons. It just, what you will end up with, we already have the world or your truth according to you, your truth according to you. Now we want to write marriage according to you. This is an institution. As soon as
everywhere goes scatter. Easy. Yeah, you want to say something, Noma? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I quite agree with you, AC, because I think a lot of the focus is on what is not going on right. And the effort we put into if it's not working, it's not working, how about channeling that energy different into actually making things work? And I like the fact that you separated it, because there are just something, and that's why I said earlier, that there are actually some things and some situations that do not warrant separation.
Well, let me ask you a question.
But people still go ahead to
separate
because it's an in thing for a lot of people.
I have Abdul Malik, but I have a question though. Abdul Malik, you're live. I think we lost. Hello? Are you there? Okay. I had a question, but I lost the question.
Do you remember on our last show?
Yes.
When you said, when we were talking about, I think it was kids, and you said your husband travels a lot.
Right.
And that when he arrives, you take off. These are people that have figured out what works for them. They don't normalize separation. They're healthy people.
No. Let me explain.
Let me explain.
So let me explain. It's not about separating for trivial reasons, right? But you see, what is,
you know, trivial reasons.
So that's what is relative. What is trivial to you might mean the world to me.
To somebody else.
Like me, I like quality time. I like us to gist 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And if you're not available for me to gist with you, it's a valid reason. You understand?
So that's my point. You can't tell me, right? Again, how will I put it? You like quality time. When you were dating, they were spending time with you or they were not spending time with you.
That's what I'm saying now.
So what are you saying?
They were spending time. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So my point is, you say it is trivializing. And my point is, you're validating my point. You can't wake up and say, quality time means the world to me, so I'm going to work out of him. What do you think a marriage was? He don't have anything else to do but to sit with you? Come on!
She do for Lokoja. I'm crossing my eye. She do your live, oh. You say, the lines are, sorry, the lines are jammed. Really? He has nothing to do. We're supposed to be gisting together. Let me explain to you.
Look, so quality time is your love language, right? So
one. I didn't say it's all.
No, so that's the one we're talking about now. It is important for you to be able to communicate that this thing is a problem for me. But if you have the mindset that it is the way to separation, you are done already. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Isi, you wanted to say something, please. Isi? Or is she frozen?
I totally understand where Uti is coming from. And yes, if you weren't spending, another thing, like I stated earlier, foundation to me is everything. It's totally everything. And Norma touched on a valid point when she talked about the friendship between both parties. Well, the friendship between both parties, if you're not able to actually communicate and express yourself the way you're supposed to, that will lead to another chaos. Now, Uti stated something about us having to dwell on to resolve the problems, not compound the problem. In this context, what she was trying to express, which I totally agree with her, was that we should work more on growing the marriage or working on the marriage and building the marriage.
So
youngest old man also made a valid point.
Yeah,
where he talked about how long he's been married for and the challenges he went through. But that friendship, which I will take from Norma, that friendship which worked for him and his spouse was what took them through.
Okay, so let me I saw something online that says rules for separation, that if you do choose to separate, come up with a plan together regarding how, it's not a divorce here, right? Come up with a plan regarding how you both want to deal with the potential reconciliation, right? The time frame, what to tell friends and family, as well as how often you would need to communicate. There are no right answers as long as you both are comfortable with the plan and can agree on what you think is best. You are setting yourself up for an appropriate communication during that separation. You are not enemies, right? Something obviously went wrong. That was why there was a need for a separation. There is a proper way to do it. I've not said leave a marriage. I've not said divorce the person. I'm saying that if somebody gets to that point at a marriage where the person says, I have had it, the person has had it, no. So we have to then sit down and look at it and say, okay, what is wrong? And then try to fix the situation. A lot of marriages right now are, everybody's just hanging on a thin thread. They will not come out to tell you. Even for the ones that come out to look like they are perfect. And that's why this pressure of wanting to have that perfect persona of husband and wife online, we should even discourage those kinds of things, because that is also part of our problem. Wow. Where we're not able to... Let me take Chinedu from Kwara. I think he's back. You're live. Chinedu, you're live. He's been trying so hard to get the call. Okay, so where you are having that issue, right? So we need to understand that we should start promoting imperfection in marriage. We should start promoting our insecurities. We should start promoting all of those things in marriage. Because now we keep painting a perfect picture. And that's why somebody then sees it as how come this one is not like my own? Myself, I'm not doing it again. Do you understand? Because we're always trying to project that, 30 years in marriage, 40 years. Not one day have I quarreled. That is not a lie.
You have hit the nail on the head. Because, Nigerians or Africans, I don't know how to contextualize that, but a lot of we Africans or Nigerians, let me focus on Nigeria, when we learn things, we learn it very well. So separation works in the Western world where, sometimes when you even hear the reasons why...
Sorry, my dear, let's not lose this call again. I think Charles from Badagry, you're live. Badagry, Lolo. Charles, you're live from Badagry. Is he there? Did we lose him?
Hello?
Hi, thank you for calling.
Yeah, good afternoon, ladies.
Quickly.
Please, what I want to say in the marriage is that some women, they rush in the marriage without not looking at the consequence of that marriage. Some, you marry, like myself now, I'm married almost 17 years. At the age, after about 3 children, the woman now says no more interested, you are not active in the bed, and so on. Most of the women are fond of that one. Then the time when you marry him, when people are together, they say things is moving well, they will not divorce you. So you can see this attitude that women are doing is not good. A woman, you can go to Dubai and marry. 1 week they divorce. Why? There must be something there, which we, the ladies and the men, should learn. If you are made up your mind with what the Bible says, if you are made up your mind that you want to marry, it's better for what? You decided to marry. And if there's any dispute between you and the woman, it's to consult the family. You have the family, the in-laws, and the other. You went there and said, my in-law, this is what happened between me and my wife. So they cannot put it. But some lady would not like to tell their parents the problem in the house.
Thank you, Charles. So unfortunately, we have to...
That they don't want to marry.
Absolutely.
Again.
Thank you, Charles.
Without not being any offended or anything to them. So
thank you.
Like that.
Thank you, Charles. I'm sorry we had to cut you off. The time is up. But you wanted to finalize something. What were you saying?
Yes, I said we learn things very well here. The truth, and like I said earlier, we need to know what works for us. It's not every situation that is for separation, the way it is now. And a lot of things, once you focus on something, that becomes...
So can we list the things that are for separation?
There are so many things, right, that are...
Did you marry with the intention that you are going to become a punching bag? Or
no,
did you marry with the intention... That's what I'm saying. So you've already entered it. So let us also... Because you know why? People have died in marriages because they said that divorce is a sin. And all of those things.
I'm not for people dying in marriages that are not working. I'm just saying that there are also a lot of things that people do not need to separate for, that they have made it a basis because of, I'm coming back to what Uti said, the mindsets that they now have towards marriage. And if we focus and channel our energy more on finding out what the problem is, or sowing the seeds or the foundation, so to speak, friendship, respect, where are those things even in the relationship?
Yeah, quickly.
If they're missing already from
we
the
can only
onset,
take one comment quickly.
or from the onset, then it's going to be a problem. All right, so this is, my dear beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying? #ways. The topic is normalizing separation in marriage. First, we must know that marriage is a decision to make. Secondly, if both parties don't have any reason to separate, and maturity should step in, and that separation should be avoided. Soti hit the nail on the head by saying that marriage is not the wedding day or the wedding dress. If there's a problem of misunderstanding in the marriage, a marriage counselor should come into the picture to help with the marriage before it crashes. Nice to see you, Uti. We missed you. You're looking beautiful. And
okay. Thank you to everyone that tried to call. We apologize. I think we had a bit of jamming in the phone lines. The phones are still jamming. It's ringing in my ear. I can hear it. But thank you so much, ladies. Isi, Uti, Noma, even though she's giving me side eye. Now, before we go, ensure you follow us on Instagram, @PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further. Drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements on social media. Like, share, invite your families and friends to watch, and follow the conversation. I'd like to touch on that counseling thing. We'll do part 2. I'll bring you back. All right. So you
disagree on that counseling.
Yes. Now, if you missed today's quote, here it is again. You can never know if you've been truly in love until you get separated from your partner at least once. Just try it. We'll see you guys at 8 p.m. We'll come and be today as we bring another great conversation to your screen.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Welcome to the lounge. This is TW Conversations, where everything is on the table. And today we're talking fertility. I remember as a single girl, most of my friends were married. I remember one particular friend said to me, "Oh, Ebo, you know, the first pressure is, oh, when is she going to get married? And then after that is, when are the babies going to arrive?" So if you're out there and you're married or single, you're going through a fertility journey, we have a team of experts here. So sit tight. It's going to be a very interesting episode.
Yes, welcome back. It's nice to be welcoming you back. When you're on the lounge, in the lounge with friends who have not done this before as a job, and they are presenting, we have to give them kudos. So I think we should just, these young ladies, let's give you a high five for that opening. That was that was fantastic. But and the thing also, I must give kudos to the guests that we have in the house, because we've taken them through quite a lot this evening already. But the truth is, people are wondering, what is she doing talking about fertility? This is somebody who has 6, 7 children. I've been to the labor room how many times? But I do know that there can be issues with it. And I also know that there are options. And my sisters in the house are ready to drill the guests we have. I have Dr. Aliyu in the house.
Hello.
I also have Dr. Williams in the house. Hello. And then, of course, my dear brother, Eni in there. I call him Eni. Don't worry, I'll write his full name for you, but it's Eni for today. Are we good with that?
Good.
Annie's in the house. Annie's in the house. Ebu is in the house. And dive straight into the conversation. Is it that people are eating the wrong food or fertility is being more reported? Let's start with Dr. Aliu.
Yeah, it's not really that maybe people are eating wrong food or that thing. It's possible, especially as we have shifted a lot from natural to more refined foods. It's possible. But by and large, from research, you still find out that when we talk about not being able to get pregnant, which is infertility, it's still about the same percentage, which basically about 10% of the people wanting to get pregnant, they are not able to achieve pregnancy. And we define it over a period of 1 year, having sexual, unprotected intercourse, living together for about 1 year, and they are not able to achieve pregnancy. By and large, it's still about 10%.
10% is so low, but it sounds so low, isn't it?
I would have thought it would be like 40 or 50. No, maybe 40.
But 10% means 1 in 10. So, you know, that's...
But doctor, is it Dr. Williams, is it men or women that are more...
Right. Well, both.
Which one is more?
It used to be like 30% men to 70 of women, but right now we're seeing almost, in my practice, I'm seeing almost 50-50. And I'm now seeing that male fertility is becoming quite a problem.
Because it's an issue. I wonder what are the curious things that, if it's an issue, I don't want to monopolize this conversation, ladies.
Okay, so I would share from when she was talking about pressure. I remember getting married and I told myself, I'll wait 6 months, and then from 6 months I start to try. And then I remember my husband saying, let's us not wait until now turn to a prayer point. I remember him saying that, and that kind of gripped, you know, I just thought 6 months. I just always thought I don't have a problem. I don't see why. Until when 6 months went past and then I didn't get pregnant. That month I was like, okay, what can be going on? Then friends started to tell me, you need to start realizing that you need to take things that will aid fertility. You should take the spermicide that helps the sperm swim fast. There were a list of things.
And to stay...
At that point, I knew that it's either I had a problem or I had only God. So I understand the fear. Now, is that fear valid? Because when you start to see that 1 year is coming and then nothing's happening, when do you start to get worried?
When do you panic?
When do you start to...
Doctor said 1 year, right?
Some doctors say 3 years. Some gynecologists say 3 years.
Now, okay, let me qualify that. By and large, basically it's 1 year. But if a woman, for example, you're already 35 or at 40 and you have just gotten married, I mean, within 3 months, you can even be investigated. Why not? Because you are getting towards your reproductive end. But even in advanced countries in those years, it used to be 2 years. They allow you to wait for 2 years. But by and large, majority of the population, 1 year.
It depends on your age at the time you are worrying?
It depends on your age, exactly. It depends on your age. The more you go towards the end of your reproductive life, which is 35, 40, of course, we try to investigate much earlier. We don't wait for 1 year before we say, why are you not getting pregnant?
But very clearly, people know that if you've been trying and you can have something done about it, which is really what this show is about, which is one of the reasons that both of you are here and then Annie is here as well.
Correct.
And oftentimes, the first option we think about is assisted pregnancy. And when you think about it, you're thinking about IVF. True or false?
True.
But is it always, I mean, is that the only option that, I mean, I know that's not the only option, but how does the IVF work?
Can I ask, when do you start? When do you try IVF?
When it's true,
is it after
is it
1 year now? Is that the first intervention you should try?
Okay.
Definitely not.
Definitely not? What do you think?
Well, in my own practice, we actually start with the marriage preparation class. And people ask me to give a talk to the marriage preparation class. And that work is started at that time. The technology is able to allow you to identify...
What technology?
Natural procreative technology, or NAPRO technology. to identify at any age the women that are likely to have problems. And so we identify it even that early. And once we've seen the signs that that particular person is likely to have problems, we immediately counsel the person appropriately. Because in natural procreative technology, which is what I specialize in, we see infertility as a symptom of an underlying disease. Yes, it's a symptom of an underlying disease. And once you've seen that, you can now try to discover what is causing that particular fertility cause.
Infertility.
Yes, well, I don't like to use the word infertility. It's not a very friendly word. So I like using the word fertility rather than infertility, because once you tell somebody she's infertile, you know, it causes quite a lot
but what does being infertile mean? It means, I mean, there are many meanings, I believe. Either you're not producing eggs or your husband is not producing sperm, or what is it?
Yeah, you're now going into a little bit of detail, which is what is causing it. There are some, just like she said, Dr. Williams said, there are some people who prefer just using subfertility rather than infertility.
What's subfertility?
Subfertility is, you are not...
English.
Never heard.
You are not at about a normal level of, there are those who, okay, I want to get pregnant. Within the next few months, they are pregnant. But yours may take about 2 years, unexplained. Why? You have to wait for that 1 year, 2 years, we do not know. After all, when you consider the definition, some people, if you have 100 couples, for example, some people get pregnant the first month, some the second month, some the third month, some the fifth month, some the 11th month. Why do they have to wait that long? And they are living together. We still don't know. That's why
maybe
there
the
is
husbands
that.
are always traveling, they don't have time.
It's not impossible.
You know?
Those are associated causes, just like as I was saying that if you really want to be able to be of use in managing infertility, if it is possible, you try and establish the cause.
Well, I'm sorry that it just seems like Annie is just listening to all of us. That what is it? No, not quite. I guess because, you know...
No, but I'm listening. I'm
Are you
actually
learning
a lot,
things?
yeah.
But you, for example, you know of someone who's chosen to adopt a child, even though the person didn't have infertility problems. You know, so that's why I would like you to share the experience, because I think adoption is also an option.
Yes.
You know, as I think so. Whether it's viable, I'm not sure.
Well, I think it's something that most parents should actually do. One, it's a good social contribution to the society if you do. But on a personal level, I think whether you have your own biological children or not, taking on a child and loving that child is actually very fulfilling.
What about the stigma that comes with it? You know, what would it be like? Say, okay, this child is adopted and this one is not.
I wouldn't see any reason why there should be a stigma about it, because children are children and they will end up growing up to be very responsible adults and contributors to the society, so it shouldn't be.
At that point, I'll probably ask you, so an adopted child, should they be told that they're adopted at what stage?
I think it will be something that both parents will think through and decide what time to tell the child when they're able to deal with it, because in as much as you might show the child all the love, the family unit might be completely perfect, but the society is still not very receptive of the question of adoption, and you could get the child being bullied in school, maybe because they say you're adopted and all that. So yes, it's probably for the best psychological development of the child to not make it known at that point until when the person can relate with it and deal with it.
I'm wondering among the... Sorry, Dov, what are you going to ask a question?
I was going to say, beyond school, what about the family, the larger family unit, where there are maybe grandparents?
You also had an adopted child,
yes,
actually.
I was
Interesting.
going to go into that. What about, like the extended family, cousins, grandparents, and how do they, relate with the child? Do they accept the child? And how does their acceptance or non-acceptance affect the child's development?
Well, I will not say that it's always going to be rosy, but I think in everything, it's also the function and the responsibility of the parents to have properly, if you decide you want to do this and you go ahead to do it, then you must, in the African society, it's not only the nuclear family, it's also the extended family. So if you're deciding something internally, you must carry your extended family. I'm Igbo, and you have the traditional thing of people saying maybe this person can be an outcast or it can, and all that. So you must definitely cross that bridge with your extended family to make sure that your children, whether adopted or biological, are accepted just as you accept them as yours.
Doctors, I must take this. There's one option that's happening again recently. There's NatProtect, there's IVF, there's all of those things. I don't know if you advise and I want you two of you to comment on this, advise your clients to seek adoption as an option. And also, this surrogacy thing is becoming an option too. You can have someone else
carry the baby for you.
Carry the baby, right? Should we start with you, doctor?
Okay, fine.
How popular is it?
Yeah, certainly I advise my patients, or rather I give them the option of adoption. I discuss it with them, what it entails.
And they're becoming more receptive these
days.
They're
becoming more receptive. They're becoming more, just like when you even consider IVF in the first instance. When it first came, nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants anybody to know that I went for IVF. But now it's so common that it doesn't mean anything. The same thing, the idea of adoption is gaining ground, but we are still far from reaching, I don't know his opinion, but that is what I have found in my clinic.
They won't say it, they won't do it.
They won't say it by and large. They won't say
what
it,
about
but they are being encouraged. Surrogacy is even more in its infancy, by my assessment, but people are talking about it. I have had patients who have even come, what about surrogacy? They've asked that question even before I could bring it up. And they've been educated, and
they are changing.
Yes.
But very slowly.
They are changing.
Your technology is a natural technology.
Yes.
But I have people say things like, oh, this is from the church, and so it's only for church people who don't want to try IVF because IVF has...
You know, I think we should establish that the church, when you say the church, do you mean the entire body or the Catholic
Church?
Yes, I think it's a Catholic church, right?
Yeah. Well, the Catholic Church does not approve of IVF. Yes. And so Catholics are told that they are not allowed to do IVF if you're a practicing communicant Catholic. And an alternative technology called natural procreative technology, which these days is called the fertility-based awareness methods. That's how we are now classified in the Ministry of Health, has to be instituted. As regards adoption, because we have protocols...
sorry, does that protect work? I'm sorry. I'm just wondering.
Well,
what does it entail?
Yes. Natural procreative technology for the treatment of infertility is twice as effective as in vitro fertilization for any particular cause of infertility. That is usually...
Isn't there a but in it?
There's no but. It is researched, very well researched, and you can Google it. And the effectiveness rates have been proved. Even in Nigeria, the technology was developed in the USA in 2004. We brought it here. Even in my own little practice, you know, I have my own pregnancy rates are double IVF rates. And even now...
And you were one of the IVF doctors at the beginning.
The type of people I see now are 1 failed IVF, 2 failed IVFs, 3 failed IVFs. So at my own level...
But is it that expensive?
At my own level, those are the people that are referred to me
and
now.
they get pregnant.
Yes.
Anyway, but the question is, I know there are options. I must take a break. I know there are options. This is one option, it's another. And, you know, but I would like to really delve into the surrogacy thing. But I must take a break, and then we'll return to the conversation. So look at why I'm just quiet on this one. I'm just listening to you people talk. We'll be right back. Yes, we're still in the lounge, and we have had time just listening to the doctors talk about options, and we also talked to a father who understands adoption. But now we want to remain in the studio to answer some pertinent questions. So, more interactive. Welcome back. I don't know, Ebun has been dying to ask one question.
Okay.
Clarity?
Absolutely. Clarity on this procedure. I really need to understand how it works and how it differs from IVF.
Okay, it's not a procedure. It is a whole technology. Okay. The philosophy behind the technology, as I've said before, is that if somebody cannot get pregnant, something is responsible. And the whole technology has been developed to very accurately pinpoint in each particular woman what is, or man.
Are you taking medicines?
It's a whole technology.
Okay, where?
What is the cause? In the normal method, not IVF, in normal gynecology, you'd be asked to do your hormones, the 21 hormones, ultrasound, seminal fluid analysis, and hysterosalpingography. So, but in this tech, we found that infertility goes much beyond that. And therefore, it is very, very important to accurately work at. So it goes through several stages, which we call protocols. The first stage is to actually ask the woman to monitor her own fertility.
Okay. Next stage.
Yes. After that, you now identify what it is. Immediately you know this is normal or this is not abnormal.
Okay.
By reading the chart that comes back to you, I can say with almost 90%, this is the problem.
Okay.
Next stage is now to confirm the actual diagnosis, the cause. And you do that using what we call, we don't do just one hormonal lassie. We do what we call serial hormonal lasses.
I think this is getting too technical.
Technical.
The question is, it works. There's an option, right?
Yes. But what is the age bracket of women
People that you consider
and
this?
men that you would?
For a woman, she must actually be in the fertile period. She must be ovulating because we use only...
What if she doesn't ovulate?
Eggs, then you make her ovulate. Then we only use, only use that, that's why it's called natural. You only use the egg or the sperm of the couple.
Right.
You are not allowed to use eggs from another woman.
Oh, that's where the differentiation is.
And then you are not allowed to use sperm from another man.
Okay.
And so you must work with that particular couple.
I think
that
I
now.
need the age, that age bracket. If you
The
can
age
share
is
that.
as long as any woman is producing eggs. There is no
So a
age.
60-year-old, for example, can't do
If
this.
she is producing eggs,
Okay.
Okay.
you use the technology.
Okay.
All right.
Even Annie is nodding his head. No, but in surrogacy, would any of us consider surrogacy? Because I read the story of Diana Ross, the musician. She was almost 70. I don't know if any of you have seen that story. But she carried her daughter's baby. Her daughter couldn't have a baby because there's something wrong with her womb or something. So she opted to be the mother that would carry the baby.
Her grandbaby.
Her grandbaby. So she birthed her grandbaby for her,
for her daughter.
What I'm not certain about is whether there are any laws and regulations in Nigeria, but I think in America
For surrogacy.
there are certain.
Is it happening here now?
Surrogacy is definitely happening here.
In regular practice, or they have to go and do it abroad? Are doctors doing it?
No, here locally. And well, in fairness, because of the nature of it, lawyers are involved because agreements have to be signed, in terms of let this person not go and claim another child, things like that. So quite a lot of groups, whether professional or agencies, are involved just to make sure that everything goes right. But it's happening here in
Yes,
Nigeria.
but I want to know, are you allowed to know? So I know someone that did surrogacy and then it was successful, but they didn't get to meet the surrogate. But another person told me that she did it in a hospital here in Lagos. And then she got to meet the surrogate. She wanted to inspect the surrogate,
to be
monitor
sure that
the
there's no
surrogate
mental
and all that.
illness
And I'm
in the
like,
family.
is that allowed?
Now, normally in my clinic, what we do is the fact that you want surrogacy, we get you to an agency, it's left for you to decide. By and large, if it concerns me, I would encourage that you do not know the surrogate. That's it. But some people will want to know. Normally, what you have just said, the characteristics of the person who is going to be the surrogate are shared with the person wanting surrogacy, so that you know the characteristic. It's not this person, it's not this characteristic, it's not that characteristic. The person who's going to carry the baby for you.
Please, how do you find these surrogates?
Well,
Do we go to register if I feel like I'm very fertile? can I go and register and get my 3 million
Yes,
because I hear it's as good
they
as that.
pay people.
Of course.
But that's the issue. That's the moral
unethical,
issue.
yes, it's unethical.
Whether you should be able to earn a profit or get paid to provide surrogacy. I think in America it's illegal to get paid to.
It's going to be I can't contest that because I don't know about that. But I believe that, for example, let's say I'm a woman and I surrender myself. I want to become a surrogate. I don't know the person, and then my body is going to change. I'm going to experience a lot of pain, difficulties. In the delivery, it might even be a cesarean section. I end up with a surgery, and you say I shouldn't be paid. I think
it's a moral issue. Dr. Williams is very quiet on this.
Well, let me just say that I have always recently looked at surrogacy as adoption of embryo, because when he was talking about adoption, so when people come to me, because of my own point of view, I say, look, if you're going for, because the type of people we see these days who are coming, women who cannot,
have babies,
who are over 40, 50, 60, they don't, I tell them that, look, just go to an adoption agency and adopt. This is what I tell them. I say, why must you put yourself at risk for all these injections and surgery because you're actually adopting an embryo? That is what you are doing.
Go and adopt a live baby.
Go and adopt a live baby. This is my own way of looking at it.
Can I add, surrogacy, when you say adopting an embryo, I was under the impression that surrogacy was that it's the couple's egg and sperm, but gestation in another
I'm glad
person.
that you are bringing that up because that's the major difference between adoption and surrogacy. By and large, to a large extent, surrogacy is the man's sperm, the wife's egg, just another woman to carry it.
That's if the problem is the woman's own. Where, for example...
In actual fact, we know that by the time they are coming for these problems, many of them are postmenopausal. That means the women do not have eggs. And the IVF people prefer to use eggs from very young women because those eggs give you better results. So in actual fact, you'll end up with the egg is not yours,
so you can't even tell.
Sperm is not yours. And so that would be, this is the majority of the cases we have. I cannot...
Anyway, so what can we do? These are moral issues.
Like she rightly said, that's the majority. But the patients I have seen, they are within the reproductive age bracket, coming for surrogacy for certain reasons, which I cannot disclose here. But I've seen such people.
The question I want to ask is that, what do we do? So 2 young people want to get married. How do you foresee this? Are there tests that we can do? Or I'm married already. Are there tests that people can do before they marry?
I just told you that even
the council.
It is absolutely now compulsory to
check your fertility.
To check your fertility before marriage.
Just like genotype.
Not genotype. You can know. And the important thing is that most of these cases, you can help them immediately. That is, you can, the technology we use, I just use the word, I'll change your abnormal chart into a normal chart using my medical... Methods. It's not natural methods. Using medical technology that will change you from an infertile woman to a fertile woman. From an infertile male to a fertile male.
Sadly, I don't have more time on the show. Wow. I gotta go. I gotta go. But the thing is, I think we've established the fact that there are options. I don't think any woman can really say, oh, I have no child. You can either do the IVF or do the Nat Protect or adopt or even surrogacy. So we should take our mindset off this idea, right, ladies? So as we go away, just one last word from everybody. If nobody remembers anything that you said here today, my gynecologist, I must say that. Dr. Ali, what should they go away with today?
Please, help is available. Seek help at the correct place with the correct expertise.
Dr. Williams.
I agree with him as a co-gynecologist, and I recommend natural procreative technology because it is more effective, it is more affordable, it is more ethical.
Then we find that on Google. Annie, what would you say?
Every child is a child.
Oh, whichever way you get it. That's very, very true.
Just don't steal it.
Get help, get help. No matter how early, if you can do it before you get married and you're able to drag the man there, fine. If you cannot, get help before
What happens if you drag the man and you find that it has no seminal fee?
Yeah, because that's a true concern, and that's why I asked the question. So we need to...
Okay, so the options are surrogacy, IVF, the natural method, natural procreative technology, adoption. But the truth is, a lot of these things cost money. They're not easy. It doesn't? Okay, so that's fantastic. But I think they're also...
It's not free.
It's not free? So these things cost money. But there are payment plans available, so ask your banker.
Oh.
So explore that
Good idea,
option also.
Good idea. So we must go. Thank you for watching. It's always a effervescence in the lounge. We'll see you again next week. Remember, you can always continue this conversation on social media. Don't forget to use the hashtags. Thank you for watching.
It's not just the parents that have to do this. We put a lot of emphasis on government, we put a lot of emphasis on schools, but the service sector is completely left out of this conversation, and it's really important because they touch the families every day.
When we are making intervention, at the back of our mind, that plan that you're drawing up should also say on X amount of times or hours, you as the parents have to have X number of training.
Not just about the training, okay? So as we're collecting data in the center, you're collecting data at home. We give you the exact same plan.
From my own experience is that the children are usually the best advocates.
Absolutely.
Because the children have been informed and they have also experienced it, we find that they tend to go home and tell their parents the appropriate things to do.
So what are the top decisions that the United States considers necessary that Nigeria must take? I like to think of my interactions as conversations, not interviews. And that's why I say asking questions is both an art and a science. Everyone says in Islam you are allowed to have 4 wives. Is it mandatory? The right question enables answers that educate, inform, clarify, and help you, the viewer, to better understand the issue before making up your mind.
Our goal is to reduce from 10 to 2 days the time it takes to register businesses in Nigeria.
Join me every week on this station, PlusTvAfrica, and gain exclusive access to my conversations. I'm Angela Ajetumobi.
On Plus TV News now. Scores, including 37 security personnel, fared killed as bandits attacked mining sites in Niger State. 5 killed in Sudan as protesters rally on uprising anniversary. President Joe Biden says NATO is more united after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Good evening. I'm Olamide Adeyemi. This is the news now. President Muhammadu Buhari has restated his administration's resolve to conduct free and credible elections in 2023. Buhari, during a meeting with representatives of Nigerians living in Portugal, stated that his government will give the Independent National Electoral Commission the free hand to conduct the exercise. The president referenced the governorship elections in Anambra and Ekiti State as proof that his administration has zero tolerance for interference in elections, maintaining that Nigerians should be allowed to vote for people of their choice. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has blamed irresponsible faith leaders for religious tensions in the country and for failing to promote unity. Osinbajo made the remark when a delegation from the Kuje interfaith community, led by the senior pastor of King's Palace Church International, Sam Obodo, visited him at the presidential villa in Abuja. The vice president reiterated that everyone has a right to their faith. Constitutionally, there is freedom of worship, but it is leadership that must deliver on the most important thing, and government must deliver on services and development issues. Moving on, the leaders of the All Progressive Congress, APC, from the Northwest have demanded the position of the vice president ahead of the July 15 deadline set by the Independent National Electoral Commission for the substitution of candidates by political parties where necessary. Against this background, the leaders of the party from the region have decided to engage the presidential candidate of the party, Senator Bola Tinubu, to make their views known. The Northwest leaders are coming out for the first time after the special convention of the party, which produced Tinubu as the party's presidential candidate. Now, the national leadership of the All Progressive Congress, APC, has complied with the Supreme Court judgment, which reinstated Daniel Nwankwo as the authentic state chairman of the party in Imo State. In a letter signed by the party's National Secretary, Senator Iyola Omishure, directed by Daniel Nwankwo to take charge of the party's secretariat and APC activities in the state. Now, following these directives, Daniel Nwankwo and his executive today addressed party faithful in Owerri and resolved to critically look into the party's primary election conducted earlier.
In politics, we must show tolerance. We must show that we are exceptionally mature. Every member of this party or everyone who desires to be a member of this party, who before December 2018 was not registered in our register, should make him or herself available and be registered. We are not coming to divide. We are not coming to fight. We recognize His Excellency Governor Hope Uzodinma as the leader of this party in this state, being the governor. We have a tremendous challenge going forward. This is an election year, and we have candidates of this party running for elections. The issues about their candidacies, we will look at them and we'll take decisions.
The Borno chapter of the People's Democratic Party has suspended its chairman, Alhaji Zana Gadame, for engaging in alleged anti-party activities. In a communique at the end of an emergency meeting in Maiduguri, the chairman was placed on a one-month suspension while his deputy, Malam Boni Satomi, took over with immediate effect. The House of Representatives Committee on Land Transportation has begun the process to better the transportation sector with the establishment of the Institute of Transport Technology. They say harness in the sector will not only aid growth and development, but will also generate employment and reduce accidents on Nigerian roads. Our correspondent, Emmanuel Ejenef, had on this report.
The aim of the public hearing is to repeal the act that set up the Nigerian Institute of Transport Technology Bill and include courses on instructions and training to the development of transport and logistics, amongst others. In his remark, the chairman emphasized the importance of transportation to socio-economic development of a country and the need to harness its full potentials. He mentioned that the committee was working together with the Ministry of Transportation to come up with a legislation that would reposition the sector.
If you intend to recognize and respect and be respected in the Committee of Nations, it is therefore imperative that we upgrade and equip the Nigerian Institute of Transport Technology to a world-class institution so that it can compete favorably with other transport institutions, and as well as provide services, solutions, and recommendations that can transform the Nigerian transport system to a global hub.
Honorable Peter Akpatasin, who represented the speaker, was quick to point out the importance of good roads and regular checkups of cars by owners to avoid incessant accidents on roads.
It will encourage economic diversification and provide direct and indirect investment and employment to the populace. It will assist in reduction of carnage on our roads, waterways, other means of transportation. For example, indicators confirm that majority of our roads and waterways mishaps are caused by human factor, negligence, and lack of proper vehicle maintenance.
For the Minister of State for Transport, Gbemisola Saraki, this process could not have come at a better time. She appealed to the National Assembly to repeal and enact the Nigerian Institute of Transport Technology Bill as proposed.
The ministry supports the general principle of the bill, which is geared towards ensuring that NITT becomes a more professional, practical, and future-driven institution which will serve as a hub to produce the much-needed manpower in our nation's transport sector. As Nigeria's economy continues to expand, the transportation sector will be required to adjust to changing realities and provide logistic and carriage solutions to service this expected expansion. This bill, from our evaluation, is designed to ensure that we put in place a foremost national institution to address our potential manpower requirements to achieve this objective.
The committee assured that every contribution would be considered before the submission of the report.
The bill seeking to create a National Electoral Offences Commission and an Electoral Offences Tribunal has passed second reading at the floor of the House of Representatives. The House had harmonized the version earlier passed by the Senate and transmitted to it for concurrence. The bill is to provide for the legal framework for the investigation and prosecution of electoral offences for the general improvement of electoral process in Nigeria and for related matters. Meanwhile, bandits have attacked a mining site in Niger State and reportedly killed security agents, civilians, and kidnapped 3 Chinese nationals. The attack was said to have occurred on Wednesday afternoon in Ajata, Aboki and Gamana ward of Shiroro local government area of Niger State. The co-convener concerned Shiroro youth of Niger State, Sani Koki, who confirmed the incident, said the bandits attacked the mining site and opened fire on the workers and security operatives. Now, there is palpable tension in Enugu state capital as gunmen reportedly attack a police checkpoint and allegedly kill 2 officers on duty and others. The incident was said to have occurred at Gariki, MTD area in Enugu South local government area of the state capital. The state police public relations officer Daniel Undukwe Naida confirmed, not denied, the incident. Gunmen have ambushed and killed an assistant superintendent of police in Oyugbo local government area of Rivers State. The yet-to-be-identified officer attached to the Rivers State Police Command was said to have been ambushed by the assailants while returning from work in the Oyugbo area. Though no group has claimed responsibility for the attack, the spokesperson of the State Police Command, Grace Enrique Koko, has confirmed the killing. Now, the defense headquarters has said a total of 4,770 Boko Haram terrorists have surrendered to troops between the 1st of June and 15th, 2022. Those who surrendered, according to the military high command, include 2,490 children 1,415 women, while 814 are men. The Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Benyon Oyeko, disclosed that all the surrendered terrorists have been profiled. The Nigerian police has again tendered its apologies to the people of Owo and Ondo State at large over the June 5th terror attack that claimed 40 lives at St. Francis Catholic Church, Owoluwa. The Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 17, which included the Ondo and Ekiti commands, the police have been working non-stop to unravel the facts surrounding the horrific attack. Speaking during a condolence visit to the palace of Olowo of Owo, Oba Gbadigeshi Ogoye, and to the scene of the church attack, Yunus Akira, who assumed office on Monday, maintained that the police will henceforth engage the community in order to prevent a reoccurrence.
Our focus now should be how to go about to round up those who are behind this ugly incident so that they will be prosecuted. And furthermore, the all security architecture will be placed here so that it will not repeat itself anymore, and other areas in the state and beyond. Our focus is to give robust policing, and we are going to engage with the community, and we employ them to give us useful information.
I know that the Nigerian police is very professional, and that when you set out to do an assignment, I know the result is always there, so certain. The Nigerian police have not only performed here, but even outside Nigeria when you are international assignments. So I believe that as you have set out, the aims and objectives will be achieved.
And while Governor Rotimi Akeredolu has signed an executive order to compel the public and private institutions in the state to install CCTVs on their facilities to enhance the fight against crime. Now, the Governor of Benue State, Samuel Orton, has restated the commitment of his administration to prioritizing the welfare of traditional rulers in the state. During the coronation and installation of the new Uchidoma V, His Royal Majesty John Eleagu Odogwu, the Governor acknowledged that the traditional institution has made tremendous progress in the state. Orton noted that the welfare of traditional rulers have been given top priority since the inception of his administration and pledged to sustain the temple. The Uxbridge Magistrate Court has adjourned the trial of a former Deputy Senate President, Ike Ekweremadu, on charges of conspiracy and organ harvest. He faces a charge of conspiracy to arrange or facilitate the travel of another person for exploitation under the Modern Slavery Act 2015. With the adjournment, the lawmaker will remain in custody until his next court date on July 7, 2022. The embattled senator representing Enugu West Senatorial District appeared in court in London for a second time. Ekweremadu's wife, Beatrice, is charged with arranging or facilitating the travel of another person for exploitation and will appear in court later due to a delay in her transport from prison. Meanwhile, the Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, had disclosed that the Nigerian High Commission in the United Kingdom has engaged the services of lawyers to defend Ekweremadu and his wife. Lawan said a delegation from its Committee on Foreign Affairs will depart Nigeria for London on the 1st of July. The federal government is set to conduct a more transparent census exercise with the aid of a digitalized process. This is according to the commissioner representing Edo State at the National Population Commission, Tony Ayejide. He was speaking during a courtesy visit to the Nigerian Union of Journalists in Edo State. Responding, the Chairman Nigerian Union of Journalists Edo State Council, Comrade Festus Lenke, charged the commission to ensure that everyone in Edo State, especially those in the riverine areas, are captured during the exercise.
This one has a qualitative difference from the one in the past.
Again, what do I mean? We're using a digital census. We're conducting a digital census. That is that we're using modern technology, not paper or Bible as it used to be. And that is the basis of our assurance to Nigerians that the 2023 census will be reliable, it will be accurate, and it will be acceptable.
As the Federal Commissioner representing Edo State is trying to ensure that all the necessary logistics are provided for Edo State, it sails well to those at the national level and ensure that everything is done towards ensuring that everybody in Edo State are counted. I want to assure you that journalists in Edo State will support this cause. So, we display the information, we will let them know that the myth and the rumors surrounding the National Population Commission is not always true, because sometimes they tend to say that figures are falsified, and in many occasions they come to say that goats and sheep are also counted as human beings. But we as journalists know that this is not true. So we are sure that we will report accurately.
In 2015, 195 nations of the world agreed with the United Nations to change the world for better. And to this end, set 17 sustainable development goals on which every country must work to actualize. One of such goals is the SDG 3, which focuses on good health and well-being. The desire for quality healthcare delivery for all, regardless of socio-economic status, healthcare analytics birthed the Lagos Health Commission in 2020.
Every year, lack of access to basic healthcare, which is mostly due to lack of funds, contributes to untold harrowing health tragedies in Africa. The third edition of the Lagos Healthcare Summit, with the theme Leveraging Partnerships in Improving Health Outcomes, focuses on unearthing the potentials of public-private partnerships to foster growth in the health sector and strengthen Africa's pharmaceutical industry. The executive director of Lagos Healthcare Summit, Habib Moshood, said the idea behind the summit was to harmonize the decision makers in the health sectors, both private and public, exchange ideas, discuss challenges in the sector, and prefer measures to advance healthcare in Nigeria.
Partnership between private and public stakeholders, that's one. You also want to look at partnership within different sectors that are not really health. For instance, you want to talk about the vital role of agricultural sector in improving healthcare delivery, the vital role of the transport sector in improving healthcare delivery. We are getting there. And the advice is for us to, keep our eye on that goal, that common goal that we are all working towards, which is to advance healthcare in the country.
Adeshegun noted that events like this is pertinent to enhance growth in the country's healthcare, most especially with foreign investment in healthcare and biotech startups.
First, we also need to understand that for healthcare to grow, you need the financial aspects. I mean, you really cannot build or scale anything without the funds. So events like this serve as platforms where different stakeholders from different spectrum of the healthcare system or the healthcare strata, be it private or the public sector or even the foreign organizations, events like this help us to aggregate, to collaborate more or less, interact, discuss critical topics that would benefit everybody.
Other sponsors spoke on the importance of partnership in healthcare as it reduces financial burdens on the sector and individuals.
It also helps to keep your cash in between because you don't want to spend so much money expanding all over the place. So these partnerships help these organizations to scale. And not only that, it also helps them to maximize the value that they have to offer.
What we're doing is ensuring that our patients can get access to primary health care in a way that's convenient for them and so that they can practice more preventative medicine and so that they don't have to spend a lot of time in hospitals just breaking the bank as they're trying to get access to care, because everyone deserves access to good and quality primary health care. So I think this is just a way for us to elevate our profile, tell the world about the amazing things that we're doing, but also get to look for ways that we can collaborate with other partners in the space so that we can also like come together and build like a great healthcare ecosystem.
What happens when you partner is that you don't have to put in capital or some money into building things that don't necessarily have to do with your core expertise. And so when you let each person come to the table with theirs and you work together and you can form like hubs to, you know, propagate across the healthcare system, I think it makes better sense than trying to build in parts where you don't have the expertise.
The importance of partnerships in healthcare system cannot be overemphasized, as it helps to scale and gives easy accessibility to healthcare and ensure provision of quality healthcare delivery.
The Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has opened the newly built containerized modular classroom block in Veteran Junior Grammar School, Agege. It described the digitalized modular school as the future of public schools in Lagos, Nigeria, and Africa in general. PlusTV News correspondent Love Ikuku-Oyedoku tells us more in this report.
This is a Veteran Junior Grammar School in Agege. The school was carved out of the existing Veteran Grammar School and officially took off on 6 January 2003. The formal commissioning brought so much excitement to the students, parents and teachers as Governor Sanwo-Olu made his way through the crowd. The governor in his keynote address told the gathering that his goal was to build schools of the future, public schools that are driven by cutting-edge technology. He described the modular school as a milestone on the journey towards ensuring that no child is left behind in Lagos State.
This is the future of public school in Lagos. This is the future of public school in Nigeria. We believe this should be the future of public school in Africa. In terms of some numbers, our administration so far, we've constructed over 800 new classroom blocks in public school system, while we're completing rehabilitation of about 200 primary schools and secondary schools, all within the next couple of weeks. We've also added about 180,000 units of furniture that have been supplied across all the 6 educational districts in the state.
Commissioner for Education Folashade Adefisayo thanked Sanwo-Olu for keeping his promise of increasing the ministry's yearly budgetary allocation. She described the Veteran Modular building as one for ages.
This building is unique, but it's unique again because for me as an educationist, I love nice buildings. I want the children to be in nice buildings. But for me, it's always about the teaching and learning, what is going on inside the school. And in this school, in each classroom, we have a smart whiteboard. We have tablets for the children. The teachers clock in using biometrics. And what this is going to do is that we are moving our children into the 21st century.
Chairman of the Special Committee of Rehabilitation of Public Schools, Hakeem Smith, noted that a new intermodal containerized building would encourage hybrid learning. He said pupils can learn remotely because of the type of technology deployed in the school.
In 10 years from now, the kids from Betland are the ones who will digitize your civil service. It will be native to them. It will be native to them. It will be what they are used to doing from day one already. They would be the corporate leaders tomorrow who are going to be solving with critical thinking skills that they would learn in this classroom, solving problems for Lagos State. They would be the inventors in 2 years from now, from the technology they have here.
When you bring traditional learning into modern day technology, you have them at your fingertip. They are interested, they come alive. And then this solution, this technology sitting in this classroom allows them to interact with the teacher. There's room for critical thinking. There's room for creativity. So it's not just the teacher talking and writing. Now they are actively involved. You can see that all of the pupils have a PC. Everything going on the screen is replicated on their PC. So they get to interact and collaborate.
The containerized modular school building comprises 9 regular classrooms, 3 laboratories, and 4 staff rooms, all solar powered. From Lagos, Love Ikuku-Oyedoku, PlusTV News.
Drug abuse among the timid Nigerian youths has generated heated debate in recent times, attracting interest from groups, organizations, individuals, and government alike. To cap this growing menace, the Nigerian Youth Parliament and the Lagos Senatorial District has organized an inter-school debate among secondary schools in the zone. Uyime Afia tells us more.
The increasing rate of drug abuse in the society leaves much to be desired, though it is not limited to any age. It has become worrisome how the youth have been caught up in this menace in recent times. 36 schools from different parts of Lagos have converged on this venue to debate on these topical issues. For the organizers, sensitization on drug abuse has been ongoing across the country. They speak on how deep it has eaten into the fabrics of the society.
It's organized for students to interact with one another. It goes beyond we just having a speech, bringing someone to teach them. Now we want them to tell themselves in the language they understand. So in this way, they become ambassadors of anti-drug abuse.
The issue of drug abuse is alarming and is a priority for us under our Speaker, Right Honorable Dr. Azizat Ishao. And we've taken this issue hands-on, and we have produced a policy document which will be made open to the public very soon, called the Nigerian Youth Parliament Drug and Substance Abuse Control Policy Brief 2022. What we are doing here today is part of the recommendations from the policy document, which says that we should engage in cognitive behavioral education, under which we have peer-to-peer education.
We have actually been spreading our campaign against drug abuse. Just this week alone, we mapped out the whole of the week to commemorate the UN Day against drug abuse, which was actually on the 26th. Yesterday, Lagos State Command of NDLA had the grand finale, and all these efforts are geared towards dissuading the public, dissuading the populace, the citizens, from taking drug.
The topic of discussion focuses on the influence of drug abuse among Nigerian youths. The debate starts with students of Queen's College, Yaba, and the Girls Senior Grammar School, Obalende. It was followed by other schools with the students speaking dispassionately.
We have known for decades that addiction is a medical condition, not an incurable brain disorder, not a medical flaw, not a character flaw, or a form of social defiance. Yet with the overwhelming evidence supporting this position, drug use continues to be criminalized.
I strongly oppose the motion with the following point. Management of available resources. Instead of wasting the available resources on the well-being of the drug abusers, why not use it on enlightenment programs that will stop the masses from going into the action? Prevention, they say, is better than cure. The money spent on these drug abusers can be used for the development of the educational sector.
We had a chat with some of the students who shared their views on the menace of drug abuse to the society.
Drug abuse is also one of the activities that is being carried out. If you look around, our students no longer go to school. They go to school to take drugs. They go to even in classes that are taking drugs.
Our economy today is not really helping the poor people. It's like most poor people are getting poorer and the middle class are also getting poorer. So if you're blaming poverty for the cause of drug abuse, that means that drug abuse is really, really increasing.
With the alarming rate of drug abuse among young people, perhaps debates such as this will go a long way in nipping the issues in the bud. Uyime Afia, Plus TV News, Lagos.
The Ondo State government has said it will continue to encourage gender mainstreaming through inclusion of women in governance. Special advisor to Ondo State Governor on Gender, Olamide Falana, disclosed this at a 3-day workshop on gender mainstreaming and development of gender policy in partnership with Action Aid Nigeria in Akure, the state capital. She said the training is designed to enhance gender-responsive planning, budget and implementation process, while she congratulated the participants for being part of a global trend on gender awareness. Hence, the training will equip them for task ahead.
Despite the fact that they are not doctors, look at how many of them.
50 years after a bill for a law seeking to repeal the Rural Electricity Board law has scaled second reading at the plenary session of the State House Assembly. When hours of deliberation asked, the House Majority Leader, Honorable Henry Okorobo, explained that the bill, which has been amended by the National Assembly, provides for the State House of Assembly the power to address the issue of electricity generation, transmission and distribution.
Mr. Speaker, this is a bill to repeal the Rural Electricity Board of 1972 and to make provisions for the electrification and its generation, transmission, and distribution within and for residents of the states to establish an electricity market for those states and for connected products. You will recall in this very statement, electricity provision is on its lowest depths, very important, where the state can guarantee 6 hours of electricity. It's not stressful and distracting. But the progressive government, that wants to meet the yearnings and the aspirations of our citizens will not stop until creating a system and an institution that will also benefit itself. And that's the level of this bill starting to propose. This bill has merit and we need to now take it to the next level. So having said that, I take up the question that all agreement that this bill passes through itself. If I want to be part of this, you say,
Still ahead, UN peacekeeping mission recaptures Wanda Jali from rebels in Central African Republic. Details when we return.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment of winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
Moving to other parts of Africa, there have been bomb blasts in 4 separate places in Ethiopia's northern city, Abayadar, according to the police. The explosions occurred in selected strategic places in the city, which is the regional capital, and were aimed at terrorizing the public, according to a police spokeswoman. She did not disclose whether there were any casualties, but confirmed that 6 suspects were apprehended in relation to the incidents. Now, tensions have escalated in the region after authorities launched what they called a law enforcement operation that has seen the arrest of thousands of individuals in the region. There have been a number of anti-government protests in recent days following a massacre of ethnic Amaras in neighboring Oromia region. More than 250 village farmers were killed in the incidents. The military authorities in Burkina Faso have announced the release of a Polish hostage who was kidnapped on the 27th of April. The information minister was quoted as saying that the Polish national had been taken hostage by an unnamed armed group on the Martyr Koli and Jari axis in the east of the country as he was traveling to Niger. He is said to have been released last Friday and transported by security forces to the capital, Ouagadougou, before being handed to a Polish delegation. Al-Qaeda militants have previously said they have been involved in kidnapping foreign nationals in the Sahel region, including Burkina Faso. Last April, 3 foreign journalists, 2 Spaniards and 1 from Ireland, were found dead after they went missing in eastern Burkina Faso. The M23, which says it is fighting for the Republic of Congo's Kinyarwanda-speaking people, has accused the government of failing to honor previous peace accords image. However, a senior UN official, Bintou Keita, believes the M23 rebels are behaving more like a conventional army rather than an armed group with sophisticated weapons. Keita told a UN Security Council meeting that the group has been using long-range and precision weapons in the most recent fighting in Rushuru in North Kivu province. The rebels, who control the town of Bunagana on the border with Uganda, resumed attacks against the Congolese army in April after a decade without a major offensive. Its side blames the order for starting the fight, in which at least 23 civilians, including 6 children, have been killed and more than 170,000 people have fled their homes, according to the United Nations. Meanwhile, a large crowd took to the streets despite heavy security and a communication blackout to protest against the military leadership that seized power 8 months ago. In central Khartoum, security forces fired tear gas and water cannons as they tried to prevent swelling crowds from marching towards the presidential palace. Eyewitnesses reported tear gas and gunfire as security forces prevented protesters from crossing into Khartoum. The protest marked the 3rd anniversary of huge demonstrations during the uprising that overthrew longtime autocratic ruler Omar al-Bashir and led to a power-sharing arrangement between civilian groups and the military. Last October, the military led by General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan toppled the transitional government, triggering rallies that have called on the army to quit politics. Rwandan and Zambian peacekeepers from the UN peacekeeping mission in the Central African Republic have driven rebels out of a town in the northeast of the country 9 years civil war. MONUSCO, whose officials said 2 rebels had been killed, said it had acted under its mandate to protect civilians in the town of Wandajali. However, the rebel coalition of Patriots for Change has accused the UN force of fighting alongside Wagner's Russian mercenaries and militias allied to Central African forces in breach of its obligation of neutrality. The African Bar Association has frowned at the killings of about 23 African migrants crossing from Morocco to Spain through Melilla, a Spanish island. In a statement, the president of the AFBA, Mr. Anibal Waifo, described the killing as a crime against humanity. Waifo called for stringent measures against those who caused the death. He called on the European Union and African stakeholders to urgently and adequately address the situation. The migrants allegedly died during an attempt by about 2,000 people to enter Spain by climbing metal border fences surrounding Melilla. And outside Africa, U.S. President Joe Biden has given a breakdown of how the NATO plans to expand its defenses and aid Ukraine against Russia.
We've reaffirmed that our Article 5 commitment is sacred, and an attack on one is an attack on all, and we will defend every inch of NATO territory. Every inch of NATO territory.
Hang on, I got one more here.
The United States is doing exactly what I said we would do if Putin invaded. Enhance our force posture in Europe. We'll station more ships here in Spain. We're stationing more air defense in Italy and Germany. More F-35s in the United Kingdom. And to strengthen our eastern flank, new permanent headquarters for the Army 5th Corps in Poland. In addition, an additional brigade combat team positioned in Romania, and additional rotational deployments in the Baltic countries. Things are changing to adapt to the world as we have it today. And all this is against the backdrop of our response to Russia's aggression and to help Ukraine defend itself. The United States is rallying the world to stand with Ukraine.
Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan has said Finland and Sweden must keep the promises made to Turkey in a deal to lift its veto on their NATO membership bids or ratification but will not be sent to the Turkish parliament. Speaking at a news conference in Madrid at the end of a NATO summit, Erdogan said the two Nordic countries must complete legislative changes regarding terrorists as soon as possible. He also said Sweden promised to extradite 73 individuals that he described as terrorists, although the Memorandum of Understanding did not have explicit pledges for extradition. Erdogan added that efforts must be intensified for a lasting ceasefire in Ukraine. The European Union and New Zealand have completed negotiations for a free trade agreement that could boost goods and services businesses between the two partners by 30%. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said it had taken 14 years since the idea of such a deal was first floated. Free trade negotiations began in mid-2018, and for the EU, the deal will be put on trade with New Zealand on par with countries that already have a trade pact with the nation.
The European Union is already New Zealand's third biggest trade partner, and with this agreement we should be able to increase trade between the two of us by 30%. That's a big step. Our farmers on both sides will benefit, and they will benefit way beyond tariff cuts, because we will work together on sustainable food systems, we will work together on animal welfare, on food and fertilizers, on the reduction of pesticides, many good topics.
Good afternoon, and thank you, President von der Leyen. Thank you for this free trade agreement has been some 14 years in the making. The concept of an FTA was floated more than a decade ago, and it has been 4 years since we started negotiating. Our talks over the last 2.5 years have had the additional complication, of course, of COVID travel constraints. But despite many challenges, we got there. And today we deliver an agreement that represents improved trade opportunities for our exporters.
Thank you very much. Let's wrap our stuff. My dear. Yes. Let's give you a hug. Very good. Thanks.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has denied that Moscow was blocking Ukrainian grain exports and questioned the impact of missing Ukrainian agricultural goods on the world food market. He insisted that the Ukrainian military had mined the approaches to their port as he repeated Russia's assertion that Western sanctions are to blame for problems on the global food market and rising prices. The United Nations has said the world is facing an unprecedented hunger crisis due to plunging grain exports as a result of the conflict in Ukraine, and that ensuring Ukraine can export agricultural products is key to resolving the issue. The United Nations estimated in early May that 22 million tons of grain was stuck in Ukraine. Now, the only surviving attacker from the group that carried out the November 2015 Paris attacks has been found guilty of terrorism and murder charges. Salah Abdeslam received a rare full life sentence for his role in the gun and bomb attacks that killed 130 people. The court also convicted 19 other men involved, 6 of whom are believed to be dead. The trial, the biggest in modern French history, began last September. China's President Xi Jinping has said that Hong Kong has overcome its challenges and risen from the ashes. Jinping arrived the former British colony to celebrate 25 years since its return to China's rule. Details in this report.
Has overcome its challenges and risen from the ashes. That was the verdict of China's President Xi Jinping on Thursday as he visited the former British colony to celebrate 25 years since its return to Chinese rule. Xi will swear in the global financial hub's new leader, John Lee, on Friday during his first visit to the city since 2017. It's also his first known trip outside the mainland in more than 2 years amid the COVID-19 pandemic.
战胜了 In the past few years, Hong Kong has withstood severe tests again and again, overcoming risks and challenges one by one. After the wind and rain, Hong Kong has risen from the ashes and also demonstrated a high level of vigor and vitality.
Some analysts see Xi's visit as a victory tour after Beijing tightened its control of Hong Kong with a sweeping national security law after mass pro-democracy protests in 2019. Outgoing city leader Carrie Lam and her husband were among those who welcomed Xi. While tens of thousands of demonstrators marched during Xi's first visit 5 years ago, no protests are expected this time because of the city's heightened security and the fact that most outspoken opposition politicians and democracy activists are either in jail or self-exile. Hong Kong returned to Chinese rule under a one-country, two-systems formula meant to preserve its freedoms. Critics say they've been eroded as Beijing exerts control. Beijing and Hong Kong's government reject that and say they've, quote, restored order from the chaos so that the city can prosper.
The son of the Philippine ruler overthrown in a popular uprising 36 years ago has been sworn in as the country's president. Ferdinand Marcos promised to strive for unity and a better future while praising his late father's legacy. Details in this report.
The son and namesake of late dictator Ferdinand Marcos was sworn in as president of the Philippines on Thursday. It was a stunning comeback for one of Asia's most famous political dynasties, 36 years after it was ousted in a popular uprising. Marcos Jr.'s critics say his landslide victory last month follows decades of effort to change the public image of his family, which lived lavishly at the helm of one of the world's most notorious kleptocracies. Better known as Bongbong, Marcos praised his late father's rule but promised unity, and that his policies would benefit everyone.
We will build back better by doing things in the light of the experiences that we have had, both good and bad. It doesn't matter. No looking back in anger or nostalgia. In the road ahead, the immediate months will be rough, but I will walk that road with you.
Hundreds of protesters took to the streets of the capital, Manila. Ferdinand Marcos the Elder ruled the Philippines from 1965 for 2 decades, almost half of it under martial law. Thousands of his opponents were jailed, killed, or disappeared during his rule. The family name became synonymous with cronyism, extravagance, and the disappearance of billions of dollars from state coffers. The family has rejected accusations of embezzlement. Marcos the Elder was overthrown in a 1986 People Power revolution, and his family went into exile. Protester Charm Marinan says seeing a Marcos back at the helm will reopen old wounds.
This is disappointing for all victims of martial law because it would be like a slap to their faces. No?
Marcos succeeds Rodrigo Duterte, whose daughter Sara has become vice president. Her support for the disgraced dynasty's comeback means those who want to try Duterte for thousands of killings in his so-called war on drugs face a near impossible task.
Up next, India tops Nigeria's export trade partners with 874.86 billion goods. That's the business news after the short break.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on PlusTvAfrica as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga. Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Welcome to Business News. I am Khadijat Balogun. Business leaders and government officials from Nigeria and Europe will seek to identify new opportunities to unlock the Nigerian economy towards win-win outcomes for Nigeria and Europe at the 8th European Union Nigeria Business Forum taking place in Lagos this week. According to a statement by the organizers, the EU-Nigeria Business Forum has served as a strong platform for European and Nigerian businesses to engage with the Nigerian authorities towards improving the business environment. The event is jointly organized by the European Union delegation to Nigeria and ECOWAS in collaboration with EU member states in Nigeria. India came first among Nigeria's export trade partners in the fourth quarter of last year with goods worth 874.86 billion naira, representing 15.17% share of total export in the quarter under review. This was one of the key highlights of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria Second Half Economic Review 2021, July to December 2021. The review, which relied on data by the National Bureau of Statistics, said Spain came second with goods worth 789.23 billion naira, or 13.69% share of Nigeria's total exports. The lingering fuel scarcity in the Federal Capital Territory is set to worsen with the withdrawal of petrol supply by the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Suleja, Niger State branch, as it commenced a week withdrawal of its services. It attributed the action to the non-payment of its 12-month bridging by the Petroleum Equalized Fund, now Nigerian Midstream Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. Ipman Suleja branch chairman, Mohammed Shaibu, who briefed the reporters of the commencement of the industrial action in Abuja, said his members were owed over 50 billion naira. The President, Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria, Aminu Gwadabi, has said that rising inflation, among other challenges, are compounding naira volatility. In a statement, Gwadabi said the unfolding scenarios raise the risk of stagflation with potentially armed consequences for the poor within the economy. He said already global growth was expected to slump from 5.7% in 2021 to 2.9% in 2022, significantly lower than 4.1% predicted by the International Monetary Fund in January. The federal government has announced a new cigarette tax regime that will see the price for a pack of 20 cigarettes increase from 58 naira to 80 naira, while shisha will be taxed at 3,000 naira per litre. The Minister of State for Health, Olorunimbe Mamora, at the launch of the Tobacco Control Data Initiative dashboard in Abuja, revealed that the new tobacco tax regime went into effect on the 1st of June. The minister also stated that the new tax regime will see a 30% tax increase on cigarettes. And that's the news brief. The news continues.
Up next is entertainment news.
Afrobeats is in high demand internationally as it's fast emerging as the choice song in clubs and parties across Europe and America. Afro Nation is one of the events that brings together a collection of Afrobeat stars in festivals across the world. The latest edition of Afro Nation, which will be taking place in Algarve, Portimao, Portugal, from the 1st to 3rd July, will be having Afrobeats legends P-Square being the special guests. The headliners include Davido, Wizkid, Burna Boy, Chris Brown, and Megan Thee Stallion. Super talented Nigerian rapper Jesse Jagz has revealed that his next album will be a generational one. Jesse Jagz's next album, Family Tree, is going to be his 6th solo album, and it will be coming after the release of his last project, Garba EP, which he released in 2020. Jesse Jagz had earlier revealed that fans should expect a collection of different genres and sounds from his next album, and judging by his fiery talent, expectations will be high for Family Tree. The Peru crooner broke down in tears backstage at Wembley Stadium after sharing the stage with Ed Sheeran and performing his hit single, Peru Remix. Fireboy became the first Afrobeats artist to perform at the iconic Wembley Stadium, and the magnitude and importance of the moment were not lost on the YBNL act. A visibly stunned Fireboy was caught on camera with his head in his hands as he shakes in the surreal moment of performing before tens of thousands of people and listening to them sing along. Fireboy has made history by becoming the first Afrobeats artist to perform on the BET main stage at the 2022 BET Awards, which was held at the Microsoft Center, Los Angeles. Fireboy followed his historic performance at the BET with another landmark performance at the Wembley Stadium on Wednesday 19th June, where he performed his hit single Peru Remix featuring Ed Sheeran. The performance saw Fireboy become the first Afrobeats act to perform at the iconic Wembley Stadium. Rapper Abdulrasheed Bello, popularly known as JJC Skills, has announced his separation from his wife, actress Funke Akindele. JJC announced via his official Instagram handle, stating that his marriage with Akindele has had issues for the last 2 years and that he had to move out of their home 3 months ago after Akindele insisted he did, and had not been able to have a sit-down with her since the African Magic Viewers' Choice Awards on May the 14th.
And the main news again. Scores, including 37 security personnel, were killed as bandits attacked mining sites in Niger State. 5 killed in Sudan as protesters rally on uprising anniversary. And President Joe Biden says NATO is more united after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And that's the news now. For more stories, please follow us on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlusTvAfrica and PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle. I'm Olamide Adeyemi. Many thanks for watching.
Is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria?
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Hi guys, welcome back to another amazing episode of Tea Time. It is obviously a showering Thursday morning right here in Lagos. I don't know where you're watching from, but it is showering beautifully in Lagos. And that is definitely not going to stop the show. Of course, we would not cease to bring you interesting conversations, narrations, and flawless analysis, of course. And I would not definitely be doing this alone.